As long as boom am nice, but me not play.
Why you need the earpiece on your controller?
You died.
Hmm?
Listen, once I think of the game it is. Adi ya nyola raw. Okay, welcome everybody. Thank you once again for joining us here at Linger Post. I'm your host, Mama Linger Sar. This is a special National Assembly election analysis show. We'll be looking at the trends, everything that has happened so far. What are some of the lessons that should be learned by the president, by UDP? A lot of people are screaming, but it wasn't a good night for UDP either because they went from 20 something seats to about, I think, 19 or so seats now. Sorry, how many seats? 16 seats. So they've also gone down. GDC, it wasn't a good night for them. They've lost all their parliamentary seats. When you look also at the people that had cross-carpeted from UDP to NPP, most of them lost their seats as well. The APRC alliance also, the APRC of Fabakary Tombong Jatta also lost all their seats in the Fonyis. All of that went back to the APRC of, or the breakaway APRC of Yaya Jammeh. So we'll be looking at that because I think they should be also classed as independent because there's not a party called the breakaway APRC. And of course, it wasn't a good night for PDOIS as well. They've lost a number of their parliamentary seats as well. What are some of the lessons that we can learn from this? These are some of the discussions that we will have today. I'm here with Nancy and Paos, and of course, we will have guests joining us. Sari and Marong is coming, Tijan Masane Sise will be on, and we'll be looking at some of these trends and looking at what is happening. So foo leen munti di nekk rek di leen di ñu seetaan fii on Linguère Post maa ngi leen a wax di leen ziar si weeri koor bi di kontaan si yéen bu baax a baax a baax di wax nag tey ñu ngi def a special show on li nga xam ne mooy woon the National Assembly elections yesterday. Unfortunately, because it was so late, it got so late. The results that we had to definitely, we were up until about 6 o'clock. Why amuñ anything which was, which was conclusive. So in the lens show be so at least I'm a lot of the results, and we can analyze some of the trends that we're seeing already. So we can come and talk to you and at least be talking from a position of having data. Like I said, it wasn't a good night for NPP. Lindon Yakar, 6 seats pour muna control the parliament amungo. It wasn't a good night for UDP. They've lost some of their seats as well. They went from 24 seats to now 16 seats. So it wasn't a good night for them as well. It wasn't a good night for GDC, who lost all their seats, so they no longer have any representation in the National Assembly. It wasn't a good night for Maifati's GMC as well. He himself contested to be able to go into the parliament, and again, fofu tamit ngeen baal ma maa ngi dellu si English bi kon dafa mel ni démba daal gisuñ fi any clear winners comme ni ko nit ñi di waxee xam naa ne tób bee ngi bari on Facebook ñëpp a ngee tób di wax waaye NPP liñ bëggoon amuñ ko mooy mun a control parliament bi mun a def li nga xam ne mooy push seen agenda. Ndax dinañ ko mun a def with the independence and other people ñi nga xam ne xëy na dinañ ñëw put Gambia first than the interest of their party loolu dinañ ko xool ba xam waaye liñ gis ci parlement bale bu fekkee ne boobu moo continuer dëkk bi rek mooy gën a dellu gannaaw rek parce que ku nekk bu ñëwee jël sa party position nga def li nga xam ne mooy politique loolu dafa mel ni kon dëkk bi mooy sonna kon liñ gis so far mooy ne NPP amuñ liñ bëgga UDP tamit ñoomi tamit amuñ liñ bëgga parce que ñoomi tamit a lot of their people ñoomi tamit lose nañ seen seats. They went from 24 seats in parliament to léegi 16 seats. That is also a loss to them. It's also li nga xam ne mooy GDC ñoomi tamit di Mama Kandeh ñoomi tamit amuñ benn fi mu nekk ni ñàkk nañ seen seats yi rek yëpp si National Assembly bi. GMC ñoomi tamit bëggoon nañoo dugga si parliament bi ñoomi tamit ki nga xam ne mooy Mai Fatty loolu tamit amut. So dinañ ñëw si yini yëpp waxtaan si waaye di leen nuyu di leen wax ne welcome to Linguère Post. We're having a special show today talking about the results of the National Assembly. Di biktung albedawo da romba mbal konton nambal ziar lambe sunkaro min kono. Welcome to Linguère Post, being a special show le soto pour kajibe election results min fota min keta kunung National Assembly election results. Nga jelo ko diamo siata on social media yalo on social media wolon woti diamo ko siya bake. Bari nga jelo ko NPP man kontaan bari UDP fanan man kontaan parce que tol fanan I tatale from 24 seats to 16 seats be wol be kachala GDC man seat soto sain kote ke at the National Assembly be wol be kachala and a lot of other stuff me along kombe ba kachala janto bi. So these are some of the issues that we will be talking about. Let Paos and Nancy come in and say hello, and then we'll start the show proper. Nancy ñu bàyyi la nga wax den ñu bàyyi suñ kilifa gi di Paos moom nuyoo last.
Hello, good afternoon. It's 1 p.m. in Gambia. Thank you. This is a special Linguère Post edition. We will be talking about the highly contested National Assembly elections. There were a lot of surprises from all parties, and based on the results, it's crystal clear that Gambians are not happy with the current government. It's crystal clear that even what was offered to them, the opposition, they're not happy with that either. So it is a clear message that Gambia's politics have changed, and people are not voting on party lines. Like, I voted for a different party during the presidential elections that I voted for yesterday. I know NPP supporters who voted for PDOIS supporters. But I think, like Mama said, we will talk about what happened. And I think some of the seats, in Banjul, it was a total blowout for NPP. They did not win one seat in Banjul, and there was no surprise there. I knew that Tuma was going to win a re-election despite all the noise that was going on. I was surprised and very members presented by, and also NPP lost key seats last night, and I think some of them were being punished for crossing carpet, and some of them were also being punished for not voting for a new constitution. This was the opportunity, and I also hope it's a wake-up call for UDP. It seems as if what I said during the presidential elections was very true. People voted against your presidential candidate, not necessarily against your party. Because yesterday, your party did pick up key seats. Some of the seats, like Marong seat, returned back to UDP. Fatoumata Jawara seat went back to UDP. It was a UDP. They ran on a UDP ticket and they crossed over. Mm-hmm. So I think there's a lot of lessons to be learned. But personally, for me as a voter, I voted yesterday reluctantly. NPP, you owe me my taxi fare. I voted reluctantly yesterday. I think the biggest lesson and what I am so excited about is to see Gambian politics have matured. We know what we want, and we will not vote for a candidate just because you are on the president's ticket. If you are incompetent, if we don't trust you, we will not vote for you. So last night was a loss for all political parties. And I think it's also signaling something, that the APRC will come back, and they will come back bolder and stronger. And most of the party are not happy with the NPP and the APRC, like Mama rightly said, the Fabakary Tombong Jatta APRC. So yeah, it's a new day in Gambian politics, and personally for me, I am excited to see people really fire those that they truly believe were in there for their own selfish interests.
Okay. Paos, go ahead. Introductions.
Yeah. Jërëjëf guy namoon nañ leen and welcome back. Foog naa defoon nañ ko about 4 months ago, and it's the same sit again. And in due course, nañ analyze and look at si suñ xam-xam or on our own opinions, what we think could happen and how is Bora gonna survive. Nit yaa ngi wax nag du survive waaye man I'm 100% sure ne li mu bëggoon amu ko, waaye tamit fi moo dem dafa àgga. So loolu laa am wax rek, and we see whether am I wrong or right. Waaw li mu bëggoon amu ko waaye fa mu bëgg a dem na fa àgga. Yeah.
Thank you, Paos. Kon ñu dugg si waxtaan bi. I think the first thing that we need to start with, Nancy, is the what I saw online. Xam nga dama dey always wax ne, ñun suñ politique fi mu nekk nii dafa toxic. Yahoo ba nga xam ne a lot of people actually do not want to contribute even to the online discussions because of the lead amut Gambia nag, to be honest with you, because man gisuma façon yi Gambia. The worst political enemies sa suñ gisante ak Barrow ak yooyu yëpp sa dañoo nuyu wante am a very cordial relationship. Why ñun online, the kind of toxic rhetoric bi nga xam ne moom lañ dee indi fii nii. And I always say, and I'm going to point and call names this time because I'm not going to be man mom xam nga man. I'm not one to mince my words when it comes to these things. A lot of the times as well, we see a lot of UDP di def yini. Te yen suñ attaqué Ousainou Darboe rek, a lot of you get up, send papa, send Lee, That is the same way you have to respect other people. You cannot continue to think that you can control the narrative or to think that it is okay to go after people like this. The kind of rhetoric that I saw against Aliou Momar Njie, the kind of, disrespect, I think that ñun war nañoo toogaat as Gambians and UDP ñu ngi leen ko wax di leen continuer di leen ko wax as a party ngeen régler seen supporters yi because dafa am yoo xam ne nit ñi punish the party because of your supporters. A lot of people do not are distancing themselves from your party because of your supporters. And it's not all of your supporters, I have to say. It is the few loudmouth online. Yesterday
I saw young status. He is a very high level.
Man, I am going to say this. It's the few loudmouth your hamne contributing data to this to UDP as a party on the ground, apart from talk on Facebook. This saga nini, the huloya nini, the wapapi nini lunyao. And when you go after people's dads, they're going to go after the man that you hold as a god, moy dabo, because nyom tamit hamna nyefo forek lañ muna jaar pour merlo len. So this toxicity has to stop. Mobile ngeen duga fofu nonu ñu doore fofu nonu demba Aliou Momar Njie the amount of disrespect koku tamit mi ngi am ay njobotam am ay domam comme ni lawyer dabo amé ay njobotam am ay domam. Dafa am yoo xam ne boo ko nattee si yow mu métti bu ko def papi jàmbur wala nga def ko kilifa jàmbur nañ leen waxante diga.
Okay. So I think
okay, sorry.
You're gonna come in. Okay. So I think yes. My big question is: do they believe that the elections are real? Because they think it's the same Aliou Momar Njie, it's the same IEC. So what are they saying now? Are these elections real? Was it rigged? I mean, give us a break. Like the old politics of holding your
go ahead, Nancy.
The old politics of treating your party leaders as gods are long gone. That Gambia has died with Yaya Jammeh. Demna. We don't look at it that way. We don't care for it that way. It's a new day. Filmmaker, the young people are voting. A lot of diaspora people move back home. People like me. I'm not married to any one party. I'll actually vote for an MP that aligns with me. Period. If I was in Banjul, it will be Banjul South, and I will vote for Tuma Njie because I worked with her. And so what happened in Banjul was a clear signal to the NPP. And another thing, NPP, Mama, what also worked before I come back to the UDP saga of what they do online. NPP, what worked against them? They had a lot of good female.
I want us to discuss the Aliou Momar Njie issue, and then we go to Banjul. We start from there and come down. Look, we are going to.
Okay. So I saw a status about. Okay. Okay. So a lot about. I saw status by Yangs Dabo. Yangi Wane is UDP selective few. Yangs Dabo is held he's holding a very high level position within the United Democratic Party. This man is considered highly educated and highly exposed. So his behavior is unaccepted. He had a whole status where he was attacking, the IEC. They are a bunch of unruly, entitled, Gambians have shown you over and over. We can vote for whoever we want. There's something going on in the background. I really can't hear very well.
Okay, go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
Okay. I think attacking Aliou Momar Njie was a cheap shot from the United Democratic Party. We talked about this during the presidential elections. We're all sick and tired of Ken Saga throwing a tantrum. Yen Momulen Gambia. We don't owe you anything. I was a member of the UDP. Bulen nehengen saga be elect man bulen nehengen saga ba. Kaman kuma saga dan la saga ti saga ndey mo ko faj. Dina len fa yira de ko ken momulen ñu. We don't owe you anything. Gambia doesn't owe anybody anything. Ku fi joxe taransu am na sa moram ku fi joxe 200. Muy Adama Barrow momit Gambia Ousainou Darboe momit Gambia. Su fekkee dañ oo Ousainou Darboe suñ bakken kon te xanaa Halifa Sallah dañoo jël suñ dañ ko bindal a blank check pour mu dem si central bank bi pour mu jël Like, enough already. It's old. Mama, I don't even want us to spend time and validate these idiots. Honestly, I'm pissed. Doina. Ali Momar Njai, lum defal Gambia. Can see in Defaluko Gambia. He put his life on the line in 2016. Yaya Jammeh could have eliminated and slaughtered this man who put his life on the line with the help of the U.S. Embassy and UN. Ñonu len jappé be Yaya Jammeh election results you announce ko. Because say Nini, you should be mad at the Gambian people, not at Ali Momar Njai. Ask the Gambian people why they're not voting for you guys. They're not voting for you guys because we are disgusted. They may pull vote. When I went to vote, there were two candidates, NPP and UDP. I did not even know the NPP candidate. But because of your rhetoric, I decided to vote for NPP. Just because of your thing, Facebook. People like me, you will continue to alienate me. Because I said, unless your party changes, I will never, ever vote for a UDP candidate. Ever. How was Dylan?
Well, comme li nga wax rek foog na man tamit I share the same sentiments. Demba mang don look at these videos at all these messages. Man kon buy help. Why the amount of disrespect against this innocent Sun mom or this honorable person is beyond imaginable. And I think the UDP have to know it's them against the Gambia at the end of the day. This man is just doing his job, and there is no way this man can tamper with elections. Those days are past gone. If it's such an election, bro, amut fitam, bro, the caricature against this man. Man, so I'm going to say
Amina Muduga because mom dafa melni mu ci then you continue the analysis. Amina, go ahead. You buy nga duga then you buy because the noise is coming from the taxi for now. Amina. Okay, Harama mute ko. I was continuing. Yeah, you know, the status from Jans Dabo, the status from Yunus Haidara and all these other people. And I keep saying, bolem na te mu meti si yen ngeen ne suñ saagee lawyer Dabo wala ñu wax ko anything daf leen dee meti bu leen dem di saaga nit ñi mun ngeen a wax based on issues, but to be calling people names, to be insulting people, I think is very wrong. Surah, I will send you the link to come in. Also, you know, what do you call it again? Syrian is also coming in very soon. But you know, I feel that we have to start from Aliu Momar Njai and the disrespect. From 2016, 2017, you know, this man put himself on the line. People have speech impediments that you know that should not be a reason to mock people, and should not also be a reason to be insulting people. This is corrupt, or this is this, or this one is like this. I think it's very important. You know, let's look at. Go ahead, Paos.
No, sadly enough, these things are coming from people.
We're saying UDP because those individuals identify themselves with UDP. So whether the party likes it or not, either the party distances itself from what these people are saying online, or it reflects on UDP. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The funny thing, more, people can whole day long. Don't go see us in myself. Yes, I'm not a UDP member. I don't belong to any political party, but I do sympathize with one party. And simply because of, if I write any post against NPP, I see billion likes and comments. If I write a positive post about the government, I'm the bad person. Now, it's about Pusal Motokla, Baraya Bon Kanaba, Swapa or Small Party leader. If that was the case, then I will always recommend my father, my own mother, my own family, because of Kanabud by Neka president, Kanabud Papa them state house right now. So it's legally and I was so disappointed. The people that we think that they are educated, the people that we think that they have morals, the people that we think that they are role models to the whole country.
Am I allowed to respond to some of the comments?
Yeah, but wait until Paos finishes.
No talk right now.
1 minute. This is our platform. Anyone who thinks you have the audacity to come here and insult us, then you need saga right back. Man bu ma nekk politics time bi ñoo nekk America di jël suñ dollar yi di ko sponsor UDP bu leen ma wax loo de xaaral ma ñëw call puj Passamba Jaw time bi ñoo jël suñ xaalis di dem rally may suma koto du ko dugal ci parti UDP bi xam nga lu ma la ñuy yëgal man tey ñëw ma fii nii pour play nice is enough so kooku di ma wax ne aw ma home training you better knock it off knock leen ko off man du ma ko jël this platform is not yours you don't want to watch leave baax na
xam nga fu na waxee rek it's not against UDP or anything right now but fu ma dee amee problème mu di parti mooy the party should start speaking and distance themselves from these people. Who knows the youngs or any of these people, they may not be part of the party. But if you wear a particular party t-shirt and a logo speaking against somebody else, we assume you are speaking from the party's point of view. So but what the party should do right now, mooy distance themselves ne hey, kuy wax lu bon ñun bokk si ñun. And it's as simple as that. But if that is not happening, our analysis will be based on these are UDP people talking about it. And of course, it's not about UDP. They don't have any policy that supports Saga or Ndolo. They don't have any people, any of their good people who Yakumajane. This was a lady, I wanted her to be in the parliament by all means. I wanted somebody like Sabay to be in the parliament, knowing the kind of person he is. I wanted somebody like Sanajawa to be in the parliament. I'm not UDP, but these are people I want to see in the parliament. But the scapegoats who are out there, the Sarah Papi Jamburi, why hang out the bottom line moy? Alay Mama Njai, Nico Saga, you send by look at Gambia, look talk Bantaba. What? Because man, I will go out and something. But the funniest thing moy, I'm not yerbo hamne. Ken sunyom genu di tontu. And this is a difference. Ben dom jugut di tontu papi jamur. Lay kon mona wone kon ki mo len gen bay. Cause kusa bay taxaw sa rew. 2016 ñaxa nit ñoo daw gina Gambia. Ñaxa nit ñoo dem ñay American embassy. Well, man mo fekkon Gambia, well I'm in UK, but I was in the Gambia. Taxaw Westfield ni gaay di xëccio ay mburu. Gambia, when you guys were out there in Dakar. So let's do our politics maturely. Te hamne tayji duñu wax ne those who voted are foreigners. Tayji duñu wax ne naka dañ sax elections right now. Tayji won't see any coalition giving out speech. Coalition against them, we will condemn these results right now because of them. It favors them. But once we go into the program, man, this time vote but what we think that it's not going to happen, it will happen. MPPs made 19 or 20, it doesn't matter. But Mama, we need to put our election, our campaign based on what you can do. But unfortunately, in the Gambia, our politics is not about who's educated. No, let's take education outside. It's unfortunate we have established and ruled out Sun politics and Sun campaign. It's not about education. It's never been education. It should never be about education. Bukonte Halifatay Dufagina, Siete Nikonte like Syria Dufagina, Nena Freda, Ameta Korea, Yakumba. These are the people I was expecting to see in the seat in the National Assembly. But then what do we have now? Let's see. Is this a Gambia we want? Sagande, Yangi or Bangon jot nga togi saga papi jambur ko xamé yow mu la gën bay ko xamé yow lim daf yo sa pa daf ko right now yow question yourself what have you done because kun yer sikké so gëné do saga papi jambur right now te ñi ñep ñoy inton tok Facebook nan dañu change Gambia a good calm at misal bi nga xamné li misal be misal la bëgg wax rek correct mama tay ana tay ñem ci Cissé tay da fi nekk tay correct bu ñu indi bodem bi di ko suul ñu ngi woon gaay yi àndoon di xeex di define on social media they were at the courthouse di xëccoo correct bu ñu indi si bi ñu ko fidaaw si airport bi ñu ko wàccee body bi ñam àndaloon they were at the Banjul State House naka Banjul courthouse di xeex moo la woon ne fii lii jarut ko fi right now waaye su fekkee ne puusal ma toog la du ma puus because li nga bëgg laa bëgga li Barrow bëgga la ñëpp bëgga nañ si dem at xel te xam ne lii dafa jeex te dañoo dee tey right now am na ku fi toogoon tey right now ku fi toogoon démba naan 3 years gënal tey nekkatu fi yal na ko yaa yërëm te xaare ko àjjana loolu mooy the only word bi ñoo wax afterwards moo tax yu bari jarut ko right now nañ tooga seen suñu xel xam ne politique jarut Gambia divide politique jarut ay saagante politique jarut nga wane sa true cause. I've seen some jigéen ñi nga xam ne ay jigéen nañ fii nañoo toog tey di naan ñu ngi fight women empowerment di ko fight every single day jigéen buñ dóor ñu toog fii wax da xeexal yéen ngeen toog ngeen a mook papi jàmbur man léegi right now ku ma indi GoFundMe ne ma Gambian jigéen la o Gambian diw saam la na la block ñu la xam yëpp because of yéen ñuy toog te di sa ñuy toog te di sara papi jàmbur ñooy intoon toog GoFundMe pause dama dimbali you think man dama ñàkk a fayda but does that make us a good human being? No.
I think I'm not going to be one to say this is mainly done by the UDP supporters against Alieu Momad Njie, and I think it's about time. It's about time the party itself, the party leadership gain and would distance itself from these people. And secondly, mu wax len categorically ne the party, in order for it to restructure, in order for Gambians to really begin to value this party, there has to be drastic changes. And these drastic changes includes these loudmouths that are online. They're not much, but they're the ones that tarnish the image of the UDP. Ñu jóg si ñoom ñu wax si ñoom ñu def something, because tey boo leen saagee Alieu Momad Njie moom tamit doomam yi ñu jóg ñu saaga Lawyer Darboe yéen a tooñ Lawyer Darboe because yéen a ko saagalu. nañ leen waxante dëgga ñun suñ fi toogee di wax suñ nit saagee anybody fii dañ dee toog condemn ko muy Baba Jah muy anybody what it is. Bi Yaya Jammeh génne fii nii di wax about UDP being a Mandinka party, man, I was the first person to do a video and do a status condemning what he was saying. That is the same way I will sit here and also say, UDP, you have to rein in your people online. So to your people online, they are ruining that party because of they are whether we call their names or not, they identify with UDP, so everybody associates them with UDP, and any of the nonsense that they're saying online is identified with UDP, and it's costing UDP votes, it's costing UDP people, and that is something that should be discussed. I am sorry, but dinañ ko wax de te ngeen bàyyi si xel yéen mi nekk si executive bi ngeen jóg si ngeen do something about this, because it is not working in your favor. Su party leader bi soli ku ko saaga rek yéen a tax ñu saaga ko. Ku saaga Ousainou Darboe yéen a tax ñu saaga ko on social media, because yéen ay génn di saaga papi jàmburi yéen ay génn di saaga nit ñi ñu dem after yéen tamit ki nga xam ne moom ngeen hold to the highest esteem mooy Lawyer Darboe, because yéen seen parents yi sax suñ leen saagee du leen métti comme ni ngeen suñ saagee Lawyer Darboe, and people know this. That's why when you go and insult people's parents, they go and insult Lawyer Darboe, knowing that that is what will make you angry as well. So you need to stop putting this man on the firing line for insults, because you're making sure you can constructively criticize people. You can talk on issues. That is what politics is about. But politics is not about insults. It's not about these personal attacks. It's not about what you have made it online. It is toxic. It is wrong. And suñ leen ko waxutee rek moom dañ leen ragal. And fii kenn ragalu leen jox nañ leen cër de waaye ragaluñ leen definitely. And we will speak our minds.
Okay. I guess we've addressed, thank you to Alieu Momad Njie for all the work that he has been doing, really, the past how many years that he's been there. I hope the next elections, I don't know when it is, we will reach a point where Gambian politics is not based on saga and personal attacks. I don't want us to make the show about the insults, but I agree with Mama that we have to recognize and respect the leader of the IEC and some of the sacrifices that he has made. Mama, now I guess we move on to the elections, the results.
Yes, and just before we move on to the election results, what we know so far is that NPP has 18 seats. again, people will say it's not a good night for them because obviously they wanted to have control of the parliament so that they can be able to make these laws and bring in these laws that they wanted to bring in. But that did not happen. But remember, NPP did not have any seats in the parliament before. Now they have 18. UDP that had 24 had lost now, and they have 15 seats. So UDP again have lost seats, and I know some of them are celebrating, but they have also lost seats, and which means that it wasn't a good night for them as well. The APRC the APRC has of Fabakary Tombong Jatta has 2 seats, and the other APRC has 4 seats, and the Fonyis have gone to the other APRC of Yaya Jammeh. So that's where the 4 seats are coming from. And then you have the NRP has 4 seats, PDOIS has 2 seats, and Independence 12 seats. So altogether, if you look at the parliament at the moment, we're looking at a parliament that if it continues to be the way that it is, people come in looking at partisan agenda instead of country first, we're going to have a parliament again that no bill is going to go through, nothing will happen, and the country will continue to suffer. And you know, looking at the trends, Nancy, NPP did not win any seats in Banjul, or and I think they only won 1 seat in the KMC. What are your thoughts on that? Why is it that Banjul voted overwhelmingly for the incumbent Barrow, but when it came to the local to the elections, the National Assembly elections, they did not vote for Barrow. They voted for independent and they voted for UDP. So UDP have now gained a seat in Banjul, which they did not have before. But NPP did not have any seats in Banjul. And of course, again, Doi lost their seat in Banjul, and a very good candidate who everybody holds in very high esteem.
Yes, I think yesterday was a win for Gambia. Political parties might have lost, but it was a win for Gambia. Personally, I am excited to see us really vote for candidates that we want. We didn't vote for any candidates. I could have, well, I'm a PDOIS person, but we didn't even have anybody on the ballot box where I was voting at Fajara. I think the Banjul and Kombo area, people are very conscious of what is happening in this current government. I think Adama Barrow miscalculated and wanted to wait until after the elections to change his cabinet. I think that played a role. I think people are very upset with the constant corruption scandals that's been going on. The Gulf Petroleum scandal happened. Nothing came out of it. They said the investigation is still going on. Then there's the GRA scandal. Then there's the Gambia Ports Authority scandal, which I think might have hurt the NPP candidate because he works for Gambia Ports Authority. And I think that Gambians in the Banjul Kombo areas are extremely happy with NPP. They really wanted Barrow to change his cabinet. They really wanted Barrow to show them that, thank you for giving me another mandate. I will work towards, you know, you guys believing in me. So I think it's a whole combination of a lot of things, but specifically they are not excited about, you know, where this government is heading. And I hope that.
Thank you, Ade, for some of the facts that we're now sharing with our viewers. So yes, go ahead, Nancy.
So yes, like Ade already rightly put the results that NPP did not have 0 seats in Bandul KMC and only managed to secure 1 in the whole of West Coast region. These are people who are reading the newspapers every day, who knows what is happening in government. You know, they, like I said, 2 things played against the NPP. Adama Barrow should have changed his cabinet before the elections. And you know what? I actually think that it was kind of a good move for him to wait until after the parliamentarian elections. I didn't think that people would care as much, but clearly people did care. You know, like, you know, there's a platform who all they do all day 24/7 is bring out the scandals and the corruption within the government. and if the president is not addressing this, then voters tend to move away, from these people. Plus, Banjul, for me, I'm from Banjul people, so you understand why it's personal. Banjul tend to dictate the elections a bit, because NPP not winning in Banjul, it seems to be reflective of all these other areas. And the one seat that PDOIS lost that really, really hurts me is Usman Silla. Usman Silla was one of the most female advocate people at the National Assembly. All he did 24/7 was speak up for women, speak up on our issues, and him losing his seat, really, that one really hit me hard. So the people of Tobacco Road, I'm not happy with you people. But again, I have one vote. Like some of the commentators said, I have one vote, and I cast my vote for who I want, and people have a right to cast their vote for whoever they want. Then we go to, I guess, Serekunda. Paos mentioned Yakumba. I think it was Yakumba and Nene Frida Gomez and some of the female candidates. I have personally said that I was backing every female candidate regardless of what your party affiliation was, because I understand the plight of the Gambian women and some of the things that they're going through. And I did believe that if we have more women in parliament, they will be able to address these issues. Clearly, the Gambian people disagree with that. And that's their rights, that is their prerogative. But I think Adama Barrow is going to really address these results. I think he will change his cabinet. He will go hardcore on the corruption. At least I want to believe that. I believe that he would address some of these issues. Now to the United Democratic Party, I think it was also, they've lost seats, but they've also won some seats. They've won some key seats, like Fatoumata Jawara lost her seat. She crossed carpet. Honorable Marong, she crossed carpet. It seems as if the viewers punish them for leaving the UDP and going to NPP. I don't know what their reasons were, but clearly
those seats, Nancy, are UDP seats. The candidates decided to go to NPP, but those seats are traditionally UDP seats. So
after they ran on a UDP ticket. Yeah. Okay, so they just retain the
UDP
seats. Okay.
They had before, because those were traditionally UDP seats. It's just that the people that won those seats went to Barrow with NPP. But at the end of the day, those seats were voted for under the UDP ticket, and they what happened is that is consistent with the voting that happened this time as well. That the seats went back to UDP. But what I'm saying is they went from 24 seats to 15 seats in Parliament at the moment. It wasn't a good night for UDP either, because that also shows that the voters are still not very happy with them.
Mama, I don't think it was a good night for any party. It was a scattered vote. Gambians are undecided about every party. They're not happy with the president. Not with the other options. A lot of people are upset about a lot of things. That's why you see. I mean, come on, voting for an APRC party. The phone is. I'm sure they're like, we were better off on the Yaya Jammeh. I don't ever want to say that on any public platform, but that is their vision. That's what they see. And I'm sure the conflict in Casamance is not helping. Some of these people are displaced. There's no news media outlet that is even addressing the issues in Casamance. And it is an issue. We are pretending that it's a Senegalese issue, but Gambia shares Casamance with Senegal. So a lot of factors came into place as to where the election results are. Personally, for me, I am excited that Gambians are voting on their conscience and who we want, regardless of what Mama, Nancy, or Paos think. We can sit here all day and yap, and Gambians will still vote for who they want to vote for. So, I mean, whoever I vote, my candidate lost. The person that I voted for lost, but that's elections. But again, that is like Bakau constituency, which is a UDP hold. So, and I saw that UDP swept all the Badibus. They pretty much took over all the Badibus. And I think there was another key win for them. I think it was, personally, and I know they did not win the majority, but I think it was a good night for them. And also, Paos, you talked about Yakumba Jaite. I think what worked against Yakumba at the beginning was, I'm not sure, and I am speculating. This is from, from the grapevines. I know the UDP supporters are here before they attack me. Apparently, there was either a falling out with her and UDP at the beginning. So she wasn't sure that she wanted to run on a UDP ticket. So it took her literally about a few weeks before the nomination that she went on a UDP ticket. If I am wrong, please correct me. This is from the grapevines. I cannot confirm or deny this source at all. So please don't quote me. I think that played against her. I also think that the whole loan thing, the way it was portrayed in the media, it looked like, she was advocating for MPs to gain this huge loan from the backs of people. Gambians weren't very happy with it. So I don't necessarily think, and plus that is Halifa Salah's seat. Let's talk about it. Halifa Saleh have held that seat for the past how many years, even under Jame. So that is a PDOIS seat. She was contesting on a PDOIS seat. So those voters have always voted Doi. And for them to switch, even though Halifa wasn't there anymore, it was a tough run. And I am sad that Yakumba did not make it to the National Assembly. I actually know a few NPP voters who voted for Yakumba just because they wanted her to stay in the National Assembly. So yeah, that's my opinion so far. Paus, I guess you can come in.
Yeah, thanks. Mama, I don't think tonight, not just Gambia, but I can say the MPP is the overall winner. I'm not saying this because of NPP la. By the way, I'm not a registered member of any political party in the Gambia, where I tend to be side of government on certain things. Now, simply, Little Mohli Moy, MPP is the newest party and has never contested. So they are not claiming to retain anything. Whatever they have now is from parties. It is from seats that were being occupied by either UDP or APRC or DOI or GMC or other parties. So NPP never had a party. Never had this kind of seat. So MPP, they have done very well. This is their first time contesting in an election as a party. So they did very, very well. The likes of CA, if they had got even 1 or 2, it would have been the same thing. So I think NPP, they have a lot to celebrate for. Simply because of 19, a very narrow margin between what they have and what UDP have, which is again, UDP, they were in the game for so long, since 96, and they know all the ins and outs of the Gambia. They know our political demarcation. They know where the political strength and where everything is right now. So UDP, they should ask this question right now. Why? Gis nga am ñuy seetaan ndeysaan mama xam nga gis nga ni suna juwee si mbalit foo dem rek wane sa jikko mbalit yaa and that's it. But anyway,
don't even respond to the comments. If anybody wants, they can call in. They can call in and say what they want to say. But if anybody insults, I will block or delete the comments. And that's
okay. I will still stand by
discussions as mature adults. Definitely.
I will still stand by the fact that UDP, NPP should not even worry about how bad they have done. Because the only party it only exists not so long ago, and they're going to have 19 still leading UDP, the biggest party or the claimed biggest party the biggest party. Yet still right now, one would have expected them to have the highest seats, given what had happened between December and now. Now, Barrow has not performed very well between December and now. Now, what went wrong could be their reaction after the December 4th elections is a big factor to what they have now. Now, the other point, Moy, are Gambians voting based on capability, based on competence. If you ask me, man, I would say no, because of look at who went out and who came in. The likes of Yakuma Jete, Yankowa, the likes of the likes of the likes of the likes of Sana Jawara Nekatufa right now, Sidi Jatari Nekatufa right now, Usman Sla Nekatufa right now. These are very, very good and competent people. They have an impact in the National Assembly. Their absence will be be felt by even the National Assembly. Incidents. Usman Sla has been the only Gambian Kumagis or Kumaham King Hamne was fighting for diaspora voting. Apart from him, no one else. Tumanyai also was the only female candidate or female MP Hamne was fighting for the rights of women and that women bill. So the rest, there is nothing for us to remember them for, except for photos of them sleeping. Now, again, I would say MPP did very, very well. Right now, was being shared previously between APRC and UDP. So I don't think that they have anything to lose. And again, in Banjul, I don't think how on Gambia, whether we have this kind of political system whereby if you win an area, it will determine what else you are doing. But again, in Banjul, the NPP there, they have a very, very bad pick. The likes of Samanjai, who contested last time, and also somebody else, and likes of Oswada. We have seen how they portray themselves, and again, Banjul has been a place being hamne fokmone well good or bur hama munam suki ñëwé naka su massa ñëwé dañu wax a bit of history about Banjul, whether bur dafa mëna win or not, just like Bakau. So Banjul is just like the opposite of Bakau. So I don't think the MPP overall, they have good candidates. But again, here is a trick. If you put candidates in all constituencies, you are highly likely going to have at least a good number, which GDC have done in 2016. Put all 53 candidates, sponsor them all, and at least you have a good number. Mm-hmm. So, but this time around, for some reason, the Gambians, maybe they're also punishing them for their reaction or based on what happened in the December 4th elections. But do Gambians care about these things? Are they aware of these things? Nancy Wehene, Gambians are more aware of corruption. Mama,
don't worry. I'm going back into the comments to delete the comments. I think, UDP, this is what I say. When you stand up and you stand up for UDP, when I was standing up for UDP against Yaya Jammeh, when I was standing up for UDP against his rhetoric, you are celebrated. The moment you try to say anything that is not to their favor, then they start, all these things. And me, I don't respond to these things. Me, I will put my point out there for the people who have sense. I'm not talking to people who are just, non-entities. I'm talking to people who will think for themselves and be able to say that our party, and we will talk about these issues, whether you like it or not. We will go even into the Sabali issue. When we're closing, we will close with that, because I have seen some of the comments against Mustafa Swandi for just professing a comment. And some people like me, we have said this before, and I have said it here, that Sabali, I have never seen him take a position against you, against Yahya Jammeh, and we'll come to that at the end of the show. And that worries me. And you're alienating people that have been there and supported you and fought with you since the time of the struggle to this day. Those are the people you're alienating with these things. So whether you want to believe it or not, some of you that are even speaking online, when we were supporting UDP, when we were there for UDP, you were nowhere to be found. You were nowhere to be found. So when we're talking, we're not talking to the loudmouths that are online insulting people. We're talking to the UDP people who have sense, who know what is happening within the party, but maybe they even do not have the power to speak up or try and curb some of this nonsense that is happening online. Those are the people that we're appealing to in order for them to ensure that this party is not taken to the dumps by these few online people that don't even know what they're talking about most of the time. So when you come here and you're saying Mama hates UDP or whatever, go back and look at my record on supporting UDP. Go back and look at my record and look at yours. Then you can compare. Go back and do that. You need to have respect for yourselves. You need to have respect for your parents. You need to have respect for other people's parents. You can come and debate, but that does not give you the right to insult anybody. That does not give you the right to go after people's families. That does not give you the right to personally attack people. I am sorry, but that is that. I will say that and I will continue to say it. You have no right whatsoever. You can come and discuss on issues. But again, this is what I talk about. Most of you that are online, tarnishing the image of UDP, you don't have any sense. You cannot talk on issues. So you are going to go after people and insult people because that's what you can do. You're not brought up in good homes. You do not have the sense to think. You're just like, I don't know what. So all you do is you go after people and insult people because you cannot argue your points. You cannot articulate yourselves. You are deficient people. And the more UDP leaves you in these platforms to continue to insult people, the more they alienate people that really were there from the beginning. And this is the problem with UDP. You don't want us to say it, we will say it. We will say it.
I'm very sorry, but Gambia.
Stop this. You cannot come online every single day. People talk about issues and you insult them. What sort of nonsense is that? And then you don't want people to talk about it? But then, like I said, it's because you do not have the capacity to argue. You are deficient. You cannot argue on points. So the only thing that you can do is to insult people. But it doesn't work like that because the only thing you do when you insult people is you alienate them from the party. The only thing you do when you insult people is that you get them to go and insult Lawyer Dabo, who hasn't done anything, but because these are people that you insult, so they go and insult the person that you also hold in high esteem because that's the only way that they can also hurt you. I'm sorry, this is what happens. So anyway, let's move on and talk about other things because I don't know this about
We are in a very sad situation as a country. We don't have a sense of direction, and we are not saying that we are the expert in anything. But this analysis we do here is just visible out there to anybody with common sense. Now, I'm not going to question Little Money MPP has just win the last elections. Yes, the truth is MPP is a new party, and this is the first time they are contesting in the National Assembly election. And next year would be their first time to contest in a local government election. So in Ame Benasa, they have tried. So in Ame Nyar, they have tried. What they have now is good. Now, if I was a member of the biggest party in the Gambia, UDP, that exists about 20 years ago, we will sit down and look at our strategy and see where do we move on from here. Why is a new party coming in? Now, one can argue that, yes, they are the incumbent or more talk and they might steal or they have the funds, but that is not good enough. Now, it's about strategy. One of them where they went wrong, and we said last time, was the party needs to regroup and rethink and remove these kind of elements who call themselves human beings in the party, portray themselves as people in the party, and then if they segregate those people from the party and look at their strategy, bounce back. But then, did they do that, yes or no? I wasn't sure. But again, look at the issue of Sabali when he was disqualified. The reaction. Those were the things that cost them a lot during the last elections. And I hope that, well, my hope was they would learn from them. So the bottom line was they would have learned and come with a good strategy. So how in Bandul, I don't think they have very good candidates anymore in Bandul. Or how many people lack candidates.
Paos, there was an analysis as well that most of the people that ran for independent were actually wanting to contest over on an NPP ticket, but because of, again, internal wranglings, we've seen it happen in Senegal as well. you choose somebody who the rest did not want, and then that person goes and goes to another party or goes and contest on the independent ticket and they win. So these are some of the things that we also need to look at. But NPP has gained 18 seats. It's not what they wanted. It's not good for them. That's not what they wanted in parliament, because they want to be able to bring in their laws and do stuff. Why Itamit UDP have won 15 seats from the 24 that they won the last time. So they've also gone down. And it means the ñoom itamit fi mu nekk nii dinañ am problem trying to do some of the things that maybe they wanted to do in parliament. So again, they do not have the majority, and 15 seats is not good for them as well from 24.
No.
So again, they've lost seats that they needed to maintain in order for them to really maintain a credible fight against Barrow. So these are some of the things. Right now, NRP has 4 seats, and that means the NRP together with NPP, they have what? 18 plus 4, that's 24, 22 seats, right?
Even I don't think that it looks like a hung parliament at the moment. What we have looks like a hung parliament. None of these parties get the required amount of seats to pass or to conclude on a bill.
Yeah, but
why?
You have to, Lima Wah Moy Paos, Yangi am 18 plus 4 from NRP, and NRP is a coalition with Key. With Barrow and NPP.
Barrow, yeah.
So you have 22 seats there. Then also you have the independent seats of 12. How sway in terms of their voting when it comes to national interest. But if you look at plus the 5 votes that the 5 nominations that Barrow can make, it means that altogether. At least if I can indicate the right people that will support him in the National Assembly, I'm 27 seats at the National Assembly.
Mm-hmm.
So that means it means at least they have 24 seats guaranteed. They will vote with them on issues. No, so the rest of the seats, how will those people vote when it comes to development issues, when it comes to national issues? How will those people hold the government accountable? These are some of the questions that we need to ask ourselves. And if you follow the 2017 election, like I was saying, thank you, Ade, for the figures. 31 UDP NAMs, that's what they had. 5 APRC, 5 NRP, 5 GDC, 4 PDIS, 2 PPP NAMs, 1 independent, and 5 nominated National Assembly members. So it means, again, looking at the trends from 2017, UDP went from 31 seats to 15 seats. That's not good for them. That's not good for the party, no matter how you look at it. But again, NPP came and they gained some seats, but they did not gain enough seats that they wanted to be able to do anything basically in parliament. So and it was a bad night for GDC, who lost their seats from 5 seats to 0 seats at the moment. It was a bad night for CA. They did not gain any seats at the National Assembly. It was a bad night for GMC. Again, even what's he called again? Ahmed Maifati contested and he lost. So which means there will be no representation for GDC, for CA, and for GMC in the National Assembly. So it was a very, very bad night. I don't know how the voters voted. So it's very much a hung parliament for sure. That could be good for the country, yes, but it also could be very bad in terms of, there are still laws that needs to be passed at the National Assembly that have been there just waiting because of partisan issues. If we continue to not vote, not talk about those laws, not address those issues based on our partisan agenda instead of national interest, then we have a problem. And this is what we're talking about. If we're not going to be, if Parliament is not going to be calling people at ports to come and discuss why this corruption is happening there, what they are doing, if Parliament is not going to be able to do those checks and balances because of partisan issues, then we're going to have a problem. If we cannot vote in laws that will improve the livelihoods of Gambians, again, we're going to have problems. Paos, and this is a parliament, a hung parliament. It's looking more like it's going to be very problematic.
Now, mama, and I don't man. ñëpp a ngi debate the use example naan wow parliament be doing not pass bill. Why, mama, since when did our National Assembly were interested in the affairs of government, but even so they pass a bill? Remember, we still have the Park Pec Committee, which ports ñëwoon nañ fa, KMC ñëwoon nañ fa, BC ñëwoon nañ fa, Gamtel ñëwoon nañ fa, Puro ñëwoon nañ fa. What came out of those meetings? So, the parliament, yes, it has to happen. It's an arm of government. We have it. Election amna, you spend highs, we go and vote. Unfortunately, yes. But they have never been, the National Assembly, whether NPP or UDP or GDC, they have the highest number of seats in the Simon. It wouldn't make any difference. We have seen the SAB, the supplementary bill. It happened twice in this country. Gambia, protest body Gambia high. It was passed. Well, where was UDP with their 35 seats? Well, now again we have, but let's say NPP, they have 18 or 19, but they will have the chance to have 5. Now those 10 independent candidates, they are likely to be part of government. Now UDP, remember, we have changed the bill. If your party sack you or expel you, you still retain your party as an independent, and you are likely to go to the president. And we all know what has been happening. Well, like they used to say, the brown envelopes. But a couple brown envelope, mom, Asha, they pass bill. Macky Sall def na ko fi. That bill, that media bill boom pass. The claim, what I heard was, he gave all the MPs 1 million, pam you pass the bill. Senegal only fought for a day, new day, and done dusted. So this is going to happen. Now, GDC, as a party, were they serious about these elections? CA, likewise. I haven't seen them coming out in the media making much noise as they have done in the December elections. That also has a reverse or has a negative two-way side. The social media, could make them win. The likes of Keks Sane. So I saw a post saying that where the people of Wooli East will recognize the hard work Keks was doing in social media. Those people, they don't even have time for what they have more better light. They don't have time for those things. Now, the biggest problem was where these electorates or these candidates, were they speaking to the hearts of the people? More were they addressing their real social problems? This could be the solution to it. Because could they say Allah? So I'm not right now. Obviously, they must have spoken a wrong language, or somebody went behind the scene and put their votes like what I saw in Bandul. That boy Imam Lai, the night for the elections, he was going out with a bicycle trying to stop these NPP giving people sugar at $200, which has happened many times. It has happened. Now, from the election being it had never happened in the Gambia. Nobody knew what was going to happen because it's the first free or fair election being during the 2016 was not just an election, it was just like fulfilling gaps or seats because of how many time Ken Hamilton, King Votal Kanla. Nobody knew what was going on. There was the might of convenience, which was new then, and it was very nice. Now, Barote right now, nothing because I'm not 19 or 18 coming over here. I'm not 4, I'm not 5 years old. He will get somebody from UDP, definitely. He will get somebody from that 10. Because the Gambian amut naka Gambian bi amuñ ko waxe naka Gambian bi mandut. A bill will be on the table. They will lobby for supporters to support the bill.
Mm-hmm. But I think that looking at these bills, Paos, it has to be, people have to vote based on national interests.
Well,
You have to stop, and I think that the voters will continue to punish them for these things, because if you're not voting based on national interest, you're voting based on party lines or whatever, and the people continue to suffer because you're not calling, for example, the trade minister to ask him, why is the prices going? What is the government doing to ensure that these prices are curbed or controlled? If you're not, you're not doing all these checks and balances, or you're scrabbling over petty political issues that do not reflect the suffering of the masses, definitely, people are going to be punishing you when they're ready to vote. And our representatives have to realize that the moment they enter that house, which is the National Assembly, it is no longer about what their party. They have to look at these bills and look at these issues from a national point of view, because then you're representing not just your constituency, but you're also representing the whole of Gambia. And you need to be able to ensure that those issues reflect the suffering of the masses, and that those issues tackle or handle the issues that are really important to the Gambians. So I hope people going into that parliament will look at these things, and I hope Tamidne, even the nominated members will come in, and I hope Nebara will really nominate women. I would love to see him nominate even across the board, women that are competent to go in and do this, because the bill that was rejected, bringing in women, this is why we need to have women. None of these parties are really serious about women representation. We have seen the numbers. Do NPP, do UDP, do GDC, do any of these parties that have 50-50 representation of women in all the positions that they're filling? So we have a problem. I think that, we need to be able to be serious about gender issues. We need to be able to be serious about our parliament. And we need to be able to look at things from a national perspective and by politique bi. Politique bi fi mu nekk nii dafa sonal Gambia. Politique bi dafa yaha Gambia. Ñu wax ko rek ñun ñëpp, waaye politique bi fi mu nekk nii, and this polarization of our debate ba nga xam ne kenn mënatut a wax dara apart from politics dafa yaha suñ dëkk bi. Definitely. And if we continue like this, nekkuñ di halat national, suñ neighbors in Senegal, we have seen the big things that they're doing. No matter what you say about them, same parliament, they go and they look at these issues from a nationalistic point of view. Why ñun si party politics? And they have their blah blah online and their blah blah on social media. But buñ ñëwee si liggéey, buñ ñëwee si li nga xam ne mooy def pour réew mi, ñoom dañ dee liggéey pour réew mi, but we don't see that happening. And I want us to talk about the loss of the women candidates, the likes of Kumba Jaite, the likes of, we were all rooting for Kumba Jaite, we were all rooting for people like Nene Frida, we were all rooting for people like Fatmata Jawara and all of these women, because we wanted to see women representation in the National Assembly. We've lost a lot of women candidates who are not going to go into the National Assembly. And again, this has a bearing.
We've also again, I think there's a Fatu Cham, a UDP ticket.
Yes.
Yeah, so and I think personally for me, Mama, I looked at any woman who made it to the National Assembly. I don't care which party you belong to, you have 100%, you have my support. Because I know the issues we faced in this country, and I understand the importance of having these female candidates in there. And yes, we wanted more, but clearly it didn't happen. But and I think Fatoumata, there's one something Koli in Fonyi. There's a something Koli in Fonyi who ran on an independent ticket and she won. And I think that is a win for all women. Because when we talk about female candidates and females not being voted for because of our culture and all this, to see that in the remote part of Gambia, they believe that a woman can lead and a woman can go to parliament and represent all of us. I think that is great. And I know right before I went off, you guys were talking about my party. My party losing the National Assembly elections, Mama, is huge. If he cannot win a constituency, how can he win the presidency? This is huge.
Yeah.
I think
GMC
I hate to say it,
look at this.
But GMC, this might be the end of a party. They might need to switch over and join somebody else. Because if he cannot even win a constituency, if he cannot win a member of the National Assembly, how can he win the presidency? That says a lot. So my party GDC, and I also realized that MC Cham also lost his seat. MC Cham lost his seat to who? UDP or NPP?
I can go back and check. That's Joshua, right?
Yes.
Joshua went to, I have the results here. Joshua,
it's Nancy, it could be different, you know. Joshua, MC Cham goes to APRC, yeah.
APRC.
Yep, APRC, yeah.
Suma taxawé election su fekkee ne suma waa kër vote luñ ma naka lay demee ne dama dem taxaw si bigga stage bi nañ waxante dëgga.
No, why it's different. Li is more like a local government. Li it's not a national thing. Li nga xamne is you are be to campaign to be a president. You can stand and say anything you want, and your policies reflect a national interest. Whereas if you going out to contest for National Assembly, you are more or less likely not to have anything to campaign on, because National Assembly members, so campaign, you cannot campaign on a manifesto because it will be a lie. You don't have funds to implement programs. You have to balance your campaign into two: serving the nation and also serving the people that elected you. Now, with National Assembly member and some of these candidates, they were going around telling people, I'm not a manifesto, youth development, women empowerment. No, those things they are only political headlines. So it's much harder. Example, Yakumba did not campaign last year. She was nominated. Now, whether she was there, she got the experience, but did she get the skills to go out there and politics and campaign? Did she get the help? Was UDP focusing more on did UDP have targeted key areas to invest all their energy on? Now, okay, ñun tay fi right now because example, Baro lim win Wuli against Sidi Diatta. For now, rek. That word dim joxe nonu at what had happened, he might say ne li rek doynama. Because of it was a key area for him. It was a target. Ne freedom for by force was kifa ambura. How much right now? For now, in UK or in other countries, this is how they measure the success of their overall campaign strength. They have key areas that they invest much of their efforts.
Okay, let's listen to Action Man Bala Gaba Jahumpa. He made an analysis on why he thought the APRC headed by Fabakary Tombong Jatta lost all the seats in the Fonyis. Because APRC also, it wasn't a good night for them. They lost all their seats in the Fonyis. They only have 2 seats now. And yeah, we forgot to count the APRC seats as Barrow as well. So let's just listen to Action Man and then we'll come back to the analysis here.
Well, when the APRC fiber were just put check elect. Benen bi tax tam mo Fonyi mer. Moy Salou Sadio xaw ma MFDC ak Senegal soldat yi nek Senegal bi be wa Fonyi yi nga xamne ñu ngi boda ak Casamance bali ñoo soxi di dugg ci biir Gambia bay ñoy daw bay seen village yi dem yeneen villages nek fa rafi gis yeen ñep gis ngeen lolu ta bara musu fa dem seeti leen loolu yëpp foo ñu ngi meloon te ba tey ñooñu ñeme ñoo dellu ci seen village yi bu ko bu ngi bood ak Casamance te ba tey xamaat ko am ak Sénégal yi soldat yi rek yeneen léegi ñu sox bër mu dugal ci Gambia moo tax ñu daw dem ci yeneen village yi gis ngeen ñi leen dee dem di dimbale waaye borom musu fa dem te leen ñu nekkee loolu yëpp waa foo ñu ko meloon loolu la moo tax ñu win fa waaye du ne dañ fa produit wala dañ fa am programme o projet bu ñu mun a du la ne ni amuñ ko loolu daw tax ñaka fu ni ma leen ko waxee bu faa nga def askan ma leen wax nii ñu ñaata fuñi mooy suñu candidat yi tam dañ leen gisee ne président candidat yi Barrow lañ loolu moom moo xew waaye du ne day gars yi dañ fa politique dañ fa campagne yàgg lan la ñoo def suñu bine amu fa du ma leen wax la fuñi dañu di loyal Yaya Jammeh te Yaya Jammeh ñoo xaw ma naam lañ xaw ma breakaway groupe comme ni leen Mama Kandeh ooyee waxoon naa leen ko fi ne Mama Kandeh nga comme political society mu ngi nii jiri siiw daguñ fenn waaye ci tool yi ñu koy ko waxee bari yooyu ñu nekk ci bërëb bi Casamance ñu ngi daw dem ci yeneen villages pour seen bakkan lekk fa réfugié fu ñoom français amuñ ko fan yële gis ngeen ñu leen may néegi tanta yooyu de ak yeneen lifin pour ñu mën a dunda yooyu yëpp loolu tax ñu ñàkk fa waaye du rek ñi koy seen bopp break away la xaw ma lan dañ fa campagne wax.
Okay, so we've heard what Balagaba Jahumpa is saying, that Mom Dafa Fanelita, the reason that APRC and the Barrow Alliance lost in the Fonies is the impact of the war against the MFDC by the Senegalese government, and the displacement of the people of the Fonies, as well as so some of the issues, those issues. And he made a very good point about Barrow not even going to visit those people in those areas to see what they're doing. And, we keep saying this and keep telling Barrow this, that, even the RBTH, which is a next door neighbor, we do not see you on a daily basis or just sometimes just going in to check what is happening in those places and just showing people that you care. You cannot sit at State House and just be receiving this information that sometimes doesn't make any sense. It's good for you to be doing these spot checks, going yourself to these areas. And when issues like this happen, the Casamance issue, I think Barrow should have been the one to really go and discuss these issues and go and check on these border communities and see how they're doing, at least to show that, the government cares about their plight as well. And these are some of the things that people are saying is the reason why Fonyi went back to APRC, because they feel that they're better off. At least then they were not displaced.
Mama, can I come in?
Yeah.
I think Barrow's problem is he seemed to lack a bigger vision. He doesn't dream as big. Yaya Jammeh was the worst thing that has happened to Gambia. He's a dictator. But one thing you got to give him was he had this vision. Like, he dreamed big for Gambia. See how big Senegal dreamed for themselves? See how Senegal is developing? I feel like that is what he lacks. He lacked the ability to dream big for us. Adama Barrow believes that development is building roads. You cannot build roads if we are all sick and don't have hospitals to go to. A healthy nation is a wealthy nation. That's where we need to start from. You mentioned Royal Victoria Hospital. It's literally 1 minute walk from his home. You talk about the conflict in Casamance. When he was doing Meet the People store, this is a conflict where people have lost their lives. This is a conflict where Gambians are displaced. He didn't visit that place. So I agree with Balagaba Jahumpa that to people, he's coming across like our issues are not your worries. So obviously they're gonna go back to the party that validated them. The Fonies, for the longest time, we know this. Yaya Jammeh made it crystal clear that was his fault. And they were loyal to him. I did not think the Far Bakary Tombong Jatta and NPP marriage was going to last. For me, this wasn't necessarily a marriage. It was what would I call it? It was just a lipstick. Let's just anything, because APRC almost died as a party. But I think what happened during these elections have signaled that the party is not dead, because at least they managed to secure seats, something that my party couldn't do, and the other party couldn't do. So I think APRC, they might creep back in and replace these other two parties. But I agree with you, Adama Barrow dafa am pour soppi dahin. He really needs to start thinking big. Like the elections, what happened last night, it's a loss for him. Gambians rejected NPP candidates. I don't care if they still have the lead in the National Assembly. But what happened yesterday is a clear indication of where the country is. We're not happy. I'm not happy. I'm not happy in the sense that I cannot afford to live in Gambia anymore. I can't. And it's just me and my 5-year-old son. So I struggle. And I understand people will say, maybe I should stop going shopping at the supermarket. But every Saturday, just for my son's lunch, I'm spending $2,500. That's like $50. How many Gambians can afford that? The cost of living is extremely high, and I get it. Everything has increased around the world, but we're not addressing it either. We're not addressing what is the government doing to cut down on the cost of things. Like in the United States, when inflation happens, there are tax breaks. The government can give tax break to these businesses. That can help cut down. To take a container, government be charged $13,000, mama, pull my container. I'm running a business. I'm not running a charity. So there are different ways. I understand there is an inflation around the world, but the government must intervene in their own way by either helping cut down the GRA taxes, giving tax breaks, anything they can help these businesses to help us, the population. This is not rocket science. This is not me.
Nancy, to be honest with you, rice importation is free of duty and taxes. And I think we need to also talk to the businessmen. When the business environment is controlled,
I can go for 2 weeks and not even touch rice. Rice is not the only.
No, but the commodities, all the commodities. I think it's all the commodities. You can correct me in the comment section.
Let me give you a good example, and I'm sure people will think that this is the vainest thing ever. I am addicted to Coke. I drink a can of Coke every day. It was $25. Now it's $40 within the span of 2 weeks. 2 weeks, mama.
That's
even supermarket 27. Mama, that is a huge price increase.
And you have to ask now, what is the trade ministry doing to address whether that inflation is in line with the
trade ministry is under Adama Barrow. The trade ministry is under Adama Barrow.
Let's take Surahata. Surahata is here. He has been on the comment section screaming and and arguing. Let's hear what he has to say.
Okay, Mama, I want to make some clarification here about you and Paul are saying that UDP is a loss for UDP because some of our MPs are out. Yes, they cross-carpet long time ago because of the brown envelopes. The UDP don't want them anymore. They don't want UDP. So to me,
maybe they cross-carpet because they do not agree with your ideology and the insults from, like Fatmata Jawara said.
No, it's not about
So
this is not about.
We are fasting, so let's not say brown envelopes because you did not see those brown envelopes, and we have to.
The brown envelopes. No, Mama. Brown envelope is a reality. Madi Sise, who won Serakunda as an MP, even confessed that there was a brown envelope that they've been giving the brown envelopes. Yes, because of brown envelope, most of them left, and UDP even fired them. UDP don't want them, so it's a win for UDP in this election. Yes.
So
how do you analyze going from 31 seats to 15 seats and calling that a win?
Yes, it's a win.
How?
Because we are opposition. We are dealing with the incumbent here. We are dealing with a government, a corrupt government that's giving phone to voters, giving milling machines to the voters to vote for them. And they are sending gala-galas to customers to pick voters to come and vote for them.
But then
do you have evidence to back this up, sir?
Yes, there's evidence everywhere. A night before the election. Yes, it happened. And UDP.
Yeah, but where is the evidence? I'm not denying what you're saying because I don't know.
There's evidence. I'm gonna send some videos to Paos. This is evidence.
Okay.
That's a gala cars going to cars and picking people. Night before the election.
I will crop it and put their UDP logo in there.
That's okay. That's okay. And secondly, I think UDP have like 16 seats because Sekuba Jaju lost. Mr. Kante win. Mr. Kante's position was supposed to be Mr. Sabali's position, but because of they deny Mr. Sabali, Mr. Kante went for independent.
Now, I'm sorry. I think election corruption is everywhere in the world. Let's agree on that.
It's everywhere, but in the Gambia, what do you do?
No, Paos, I don't agree with that. If there was corruption in this election, as an activist, as somebody who believes in the human rights and the protection of our democracy, I have a problem with that. Granted, but I'm just saying that I don't want us to sit here and justify that election fraud is okay. Again, I repeat myself, I haven't heard of it, I haven't seen it.
You are not correct about the situation in the Gambia. You are not correct.
We are not saying, yes, we are not saying that this one is because I haven't heard anything like that or seen the evidence. But what I'm saying, election fraud is everywhere in the world. It's everywhere in the world. We have seen people are still questioning the winning of Donald Trump in America. There was still an investigation. It's still open. It's still being investigated whether he won or not. Now, Gambia and Africa is the worst. It's a daylight corruption, daylight stealing, daylight lying in your face. Bam. Now, the difference where the difference is made is there is always an aftermath investigation as to whether he win or not. If there is any rumors emerging from the elections in the Gambia, it does not happen. Now, what we are saying here now, I cannot vividly confirm that there were these things coming from outside the Gambia to vote or brown envelope. And of course, if I'm an MP, whoever gives me brown envelope money, I will eat. But that will not dictate my job.
Exactly.
Now, Now, the bottom line is now, UDP and GDC, they did a great mistakes in the past 2 years by expelling party members. Simply because
if your members are not loyal to you, they are not loyal to the party, they don't come to the party's meeting, you fire them, let them go. And you know what? You know what happened? Those they fired, they don't win this election.
No, that's fine. That's fine. But
UDP is happy right now. They're happy. Sekuba Jaju is out, Farman Jawara is out, Baba Gale Jallo is out, Mr. Jawara is out, and that Latrikunda guy is out. They've been very disrespectful to the party. Yes.
Now, Sorata.
Yes.
2016.
Yes.
We have never dreamed of Sekuba Jaju and co. even thinking of being expelled from the party or going to MPP. It had never been crossed to our minds because that was then. Now, it come to next year and in the coming years now, what are the guarantees that the same trend is not going to happen again, given the fact that it's politics. And remember, politics is one thing. You do not need to be educated to play politics. You don't need to have any PhD or any kind of academic qualification to play politics. But you need to be smart and be educated to be in the game. Now, if you are not educated, then be the smart fool in the game, then you win. Now, Barrow, as we said now, these brown envelopes, this time now he can jump from brown envelope now to gray envelopes now. And we have seen MP been giving them cash now. Now, are they going to have jobs?
Barrow can do worse than that. Barrow can do the sad thing about this election. The sad thing about this election is this is the sad thing. Yeah, Kumba is out. Halifa Saleh is out. CDA is out. And that makes me very sad because we need those people in the house. We need POIs in the house.
Now, Sota, what about if Barrow come and said he's going to nominate Nene Fraser, Halifa Saleh, and for the purpose of being a speaker in the house? Because among all those who win right now here,
Wallahi, I will welcome that, and a lot of Gambians will welcome that. Yes.
Yeah, but that again, that will change the narratives
of
change of heart. If Barrow does that now, it will change the narrative come next elections. Barrow might do it. to win
And
hearts and minds of the Gambia for next election. Remember, we have
Barrow,
one to go next year.
Barrow might even select Fatimata Jawara as a nominated member again, and those people who lost. And he might
Yeah,
even
but
hire them as ministers too. He's capable.
I don't think at this point,
No.
Barrow will compromise his integrity.
Okay, Surahata. If Adama Barrow selects, and no offense to Fatoumata Jawara, if Adama Barrow is selecting people to go to the National Assembly, I want to believe that he would vet on better National Assembly candidates. And again, I'm a woman who supports women candidates 100%. But I'm not. There are a few candidates who lost that I'm not angry that they lost. I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna be honest. There are a few who did not make it back to the National Assembly, and Fatoumata Jawara, I'm sure she's amazing in her own capacity. But I had the opportunity to address the National Assembly at some point, and she wasn't too great. I'm sorry. Please blend my new attacks. I'm just saying that. Yeah, and this has nothing to do with NPP or UDP, but I'm just saying we need people like Yakumba who know the law, who can interpret the law.
Around UDP, say you are safe. Fatimata Jawara, he's not UDP.
She was UDP before. So please,
UDP.
Let's hold on. We have a caller, please. Let's start getting some calls in here before we continue. Go ahead, caller.
Hi everyone. How are you all doing today?
We're good.
I just wanted to add at least my 2 cents regarding the elections. I mean, I would say this is a protest vote because, of course, people voted for Barrow. Last year, he won the election clearly because some of the people did not like the UDP. Some of them don't like Dabo. I mean, they all decided to vote for Barrow and even leave their parties. I mean, but coming to Parliament, this local government elections, what happened is the country is heading to a very, very bad direction. You know, and then people believe there are so much corruption going on. I mean, the government did not clearly respect the citizenry. They do the hell they want to do. I mean, prices are skyrocketed. Obviously, we all know that that's international, but I mean, in Gambia, is more than that. It's like government is not doing anything to help the citizenry regarding policies, programs, nothing. I mean, the healthcare system is really, really bad. We can clearly see women are dying, you know, from deliveries. And then we see the education system, kids are not even passing their GCSE exams. Everyone is worried. The crime rate has increased. I mean, people are robbing people daylight, going to people's houses, taking their stuff. The police are not doing anything about these things. So, I mean, it's like, listen, we have said everything, but this government is not listening. This government is not even trying. All they are interested in is stealing our money, killing themselves. People are tired. So they went out there and then voted against Barrow. When you look at the combos, Barrow did not even win one single seat. Come to KMC, come to Bandul. I mean, clearly, when you put in these three, big areas together, this is what won Barrow the elections. So all these people went against him. This is a message to tell Barrow that, listen, I mean, we have voted for you, but we are sending you a message. 2026, we're going to vote you out if you continue this nonsense. And then if I were a Barrow, I would sack all my ministers, because it's very clear. All his associates, all his advisors, be it ministers, friends, no one can even give him a single seat, be it Banjo, KMC, Combos. What is there?
purpose? I ask this question. With all the campaign, with all the money, with all the incumbency advantages, not there. So why am I keeping you guys? I mean, he should sack every one of them and bring a new cabinet, even Ahmed Ba, because now we will see the policy. Oh, NIB under 4 seats. If I sack him, are they going to be there for? Let's sack him. What has he done? Nothing. Right? You know, I mean, this is it. Sack every one of them and then bring new competent people who can drive the economy, who can build a new good healthcare system, new education system, new infrastructure, and people with vision. These people, if they carry on, I swear to God, Gambia as backward as man. I mean, look at all countries are moving forward. Gambia look like this take up it's not even moving an inch. Instead, it's going back. And we still want to keep these people there. We still want to keep Barrow with these clueless people. It's sad. But I mean, it breaks my heart when I see even intelligent people, I call them, defending this government, defending Barrow, right? Defending their policies. Come on, what is working? Tell me. From 2017, when we voted Barrow for a change, up to date, you tell me one single thing in Gambia that is working, that is moving forward.
Thanks, Scholar.
You tell me, I'll wait. Nothing absolutely. So why should we keep Barrow there? Why should we even be like we supporting Barrow? I don't get it. Serious. Any serious person will not support Barrow. Any serious person who loves the country.
Thank you. Thank you, Kola.
What's the alternative? I think that's the question that we need to ask ourselves.
2 minutes, like, you know, okay, I kind of agree with this caller. Ne Dikabida Dahud. Why, if I remember very well, we had a coalition government, a combination of 6 or 7 parties, right? And the agenda. No, and the
tomorrow Gambia is going to have 24-hour electricity, and I have to, and I'm going to break it down here on Linger Post. Something that I know for a fact, so you guys can hold me accountable for this. So that's working.
And also the agenda was mainly justice, transition justice, and along the line we had somebody who was nothing, or who was depending or working on that plan that they had. Let's remember, I'm sorry. The agenda for the Gambia from 2016 or 2017 until 2021 was meant to be reforms, bad laws, justice, and this was meant to be the agenda. Now, along the road, well, Barrow along played with what the Gambians wanted. Look at KMC. I'm not surprised MPP had nothing in KMC. There is not a single one project in KMC initiated by the government. Musna call their time some of these top executive. Ian, what has the NPP government or the Barrow government done for KMC? In Bakau. This was what he told me. And it's true. In as much as I support government, we all can clearly see there is nothing that the Gambia government has started in KMC. Well, maybe KMC is because people, man, KMC, I used to think that it's only Serakunda and Kanifin and Bakau. But it's beyond that. But it's tough. Now, people are voting against or voting for, not because of these things, but man, I think that because of the anger and the revenge of still what happened between 2016 until now. Because
but Paos, Adedrame brought a very good point. It's Ramadan. The season have changed. It's extremely hot. Most people did not bother voting at all because most Gambians don't even care for the parliamentarian elections. And yesterday, because of Mama, I had to force myself to go and vote. I wasn't going to vote because I don't like any of the candidates that was presented to me. I didn't even know the candidates who were available for me to vote. And I think another thing, NPP, they made a mistake in their selections. I knew some amazing candidates who were going to do so well in the National Assembly, and they rejected them. So I think there is something there about their selection too. So 2 things came into place. One, it's Ramadan. You know, most people will not doing all them pull sanil karta because people don't really understand the importance of parliamentarians.
I think that's where the problem is, Nancy.
I think that's where the problem is. Most
with
Gambians
52% voter turnout, it means that the people motivated enough were the ones that went and voted. Or everybody else, 50% of the population did not vote, and maybe they are like you because yesterday or today people would have gone out to go and vote. So a lot of people also feel that the candidates that they have to choose from are not the candidates that they want, so they would rather not vote. So I think that also contributed to the low turnout and the fact that this reflected on the results.
Mama, that's true. But let me tell you this: Gambians are tired of Barrow right now. They are tired of that government. Pause. When you talk about a KMC, they don't need nothing from the government because.
Surahata, are you the guy? I need clarification. I don't know him.
What? Okay. I'm Surahata Fati. I'm a part of UDP. I'm a UDP member.
Okay. Now it makes sense. Go ahead.
Okay. Gambians are sick and tired of that corrupt government, Adam Barrow's government. So I want to talk about KMC here. KMC people don't need anything from the government. All they want is they want government to support KMC, municipal council. But you know what? Government failed to support Talibe Bensouda because he's a UDP member. Remember this: when Talibe bring those garbage trucks, the government forced Talibe to pay more than $1 million for tax because those trucks belong to Kanifi Municipal Council. They have to pay a lot of money to take those cars from the custom. That's very wrong. They are not supporting Talibe Bensouda even a single bit. They don't do nothing for them because he's a part of UDP. And Adam Barrow, hold on. Adam Barrow even mentioned this. We need KMC. We need KMC. He always said this. That's why when this corruption scandal happened at KMC, they want to put a special investigation in that so that they can throw Taliban under the bus. This is the thing.
Okay, Surahata.
Let me just say something here. We said this before when we were starting that some of the people that voted rejected NPP candidates because those were not the candidates that they wanted for to represent.
Yes, Mama, that's another problem. That's another problem. Yes.
Let me just finish. And secondly, a lot of the so these are some of the issues that happened. But I think going back to Fatmata Jawara, we need to talk about, even in Senegal, the neighboring countries, we speak in our local languages. This is not a lady that's not that doesn't have a grasp of issues. This lady, Fatmata Jawara, has a grasp.
No, Senegal.
No. Let me just
their constitution is translated in Wolof.
Nancy.
Our constitution is in English. Let's not sit here. Go ahead.
Nancy, we have to be able to respect our local languages. We have to be able to also realize that people, because no, I don't agree with this. You know why? Because when we say that people who cannot speak English, there are people up country who cannot speak English, but who are more articulate than us, who understand situations more than we do, and who are also should be able to have representation for their voices to be heard. So I don't believe in this issue of if you can speak the Queen's English, then you are the perfect one, because you can speak the Queen's English and still be very ignorant and still not be able to be passionate about the people that you represent. When Fatoumata Jawara was fighting in the struggle, when Fatoumata Jawara went to prison, when Fatoumata Jawara was raped in that prison, most of the people talking today, most of the people insulting her today were nowhere to be found. I will stick up for that lady. Yes, we speak English in our National Assembly, but maybe it's time for us to also review, because even in other countries, our local languages are just as important as any other language that they speak in their parliament. In Senegal, they have parliamentarians from up country who speak Wolof in parliament because that is what they understand. That is how they can express themselves and represent the people that they represent from those villages. We cannot continue to say that, yes, because Mama Linguère speaks perfect English, she should be the one in parliament and not a Fatoumata Jawara, because she will not be able to express herself in the language that we want her to. If you hear Fatoumata Jawara speak in Mandinka, if you hear Fatoumata Jawara express herself in Mandinka, then you will know that this is not a lady that is ignorant. She's not ignorant. So there's a very big difference between ignorance and stupidity and speaking the Queen's English. And we have to be able to distinguish between these things. And I think, when we sit here and intellectualize these debates, and we kind of, we marginalize a lot of Gambians who, when we speak English, do not understand us. That is just the bottom line. When we sit here on these platforms and we speak English, you send it to somebody at Woolly, you send it to somebody at CRR. Most of them do not understand what we are saying. Most of them don't.
Agree.
And so to be able to represent those people, we have to be able to speak in the language that they understand. And when we do not speak in the language that they understand, we are alienating those people, not because they are ignorant, but because we feel that they do not understand English. And we are superior because we speak English. I think we have to stop that mindset in Gambia. That doesn't help us.
But Mama, can I come in? Mama, I want to come in.
Jumala abala fola man gaw jumala abal man gaw fola ni man kan mem moy men ne be fa express loto ibe kuma fola me yalon ko manya na kafo. She can speak.
Can I come in?
Yeah, come in.
I think the candidates themselves insist on speaking on the language that they contribute in.
That's why I am.
Mama, you talked about Senegal. Every document in Senegal is translated in Wolof, because every Senegalese speak Wolof. Senegal, it's easy for them to localize their government because every Senegalese speak Wolof. Not everybody in Gambia speaks Mandinka. Not Gambia have too many dialects, number one. Number two, we're talking about parliament. These people are supposed to interpret the law. Unless Gambia change our parliament, that what Sidia Jatta was trying to do, unless Gambia change our parliament, change, the way these laws are interpreted. If you cannot read, and I don't know anything about Fatoumata Jawara, I cannot sit here and speak on her behalf or criticize her or not. I'm just saying in general, generally speaking, we are not there where we can have National Assembly members who cannot read and understand the Constitution. That's where I'm coming from. I'm not against localizing our Constitution. I'm not against doing any of that. Zahidi, stop. Sorry, guys. I just want us to have the right tools in place for us to do it. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I mean, I get both arguments. I get both points. But what I'm saying is, sometimes when we make these arguments, maybe we should also start by saying that it's time for us to recognize that speaking English does not equate intelligence. Not being able to speak good English does not also equate to intelligence. And when we accept that and agree on that, then we need to start asking ourselves, are we still stuck in this colonial mindset of everything being in English in our country? Or are we ready to also accommodate over 50% of the population that do not speak English? We are alienating, we're doing business in parliament at speaking in English. And in the process, that parliament is alienating over 50% of the population. And we see it because when you look at the voting, the patterns that we've seen, you look at Bandul, you look at KMC, you look at Western Division, predominantly that's where the educated masses are based. Those people voted against NPP. When you look at upcountry, because we have alienated all of those people, most of those people voted NPP because they do not understand or get a grasp of the issues that we're talking about in parliament in English. So for them, their parliamentarians should reflect, their understanding of this country as well. And when we do not accept that we have a problem, even with interpretation in terms of the people that we sit there, whether it's UDP, NPP candidates, or whatever candidates that you sit there, when they're not able to articulate themselves in English, their debate, their contribution to the debates in the parliament is limited. We were talking about this even with the case of Bakau, with Asanturi and all of these people, that we do not hear them in parliament expressing themselves. I hear him speak, he's very articulate in English, but when he goes into parliament, I don't hear the noise from him. I don't hear the noise from a lot of other MPs that maybe would have debated passionately in the language that they understand, but because they're debating in English and they know that, you know, the moment they make a mistake, we take it on social media and ridicule them and everything. Their contributions in Parliament are very limited. They are not contributing in Parliament to debates, and that is hindering the rich debates that we should be able to have in that country. I mean, that's my problem.
Mama, if you are in the House of Parliament, even if you don't speak correct English, but whatever, when you are talking, if you make sense, you're talking something very important. Even if it's a broken English, people will respect that. But if you are broken English at the same time, whatever you're talking about doesn't make sense, this is what people come out and attack people because they're not speaking good English. So the best thing to do is speak the language that you understand, the half of the population understand. It's better for you. But don't force yourself to speak English. And this is what a lot of MPs are speaking broken English for no reason.
Yeah, but I think, sorry, I think what Ma was saying, I think is right. We have a problem, but nobody within that arm of government is realizing that Lee is a problem, and let's try to find a solution. And the solution is let's accept the language that we understand. But again, it depends, because of, I think the first thing is the criteria and the qualification to put yourself forward to be a National Assembly member. You may want to speak your Jola, your Swahili in Parliament, but again, what if you are in committees whereby example, if you are part of the ECOWAS or ECOWAS member of Parliament, something like that, and then there you need to compose yourself very well. So I think that could be a topic for another day. I think it's a huge topic, and that has to do with qualification and the criteria to put yourself forward, and then.
Let's move forward. Let me ask you guys now, Paos Nancy Surahata, GDC 0 seats, CA 0 seats, GMC 0 seats, PPP 0 seats in Parliament. How do those parties now continue to exist? How do they continue to engage? How do they continue to be relevant in this new 5-year cycle?
So where's Mr. Sise? Where's Mr. Sise?
Where's Mr. Sise?
The young guy.
Who's Mr. Sise? MC Chan?
No, he's a GDC guy. That's smart young guy.
Yeah. The youngest MP.
Yes.
He lost his seat.
Yeah, he lost his
God.
Yeah.
No.
So unfortunately, guys, Mama. Unfortunately, I gotta go. Zaid is not feeling well. He seemed to be having issues.
Okay.
Wow.
But thank you for tuning in. I have to go attend to my son.
Okay, thanks.
Wow.
Thanks, Nancy. So Paos, GDC 0 seats, CA 0 seats, GMC 0, PPP 0. How do those parties continue to be relevant with another election cycle of 5 years? Because they have to wait for another election cycle of 5 years before they can be in Parliament or contest presidential or whatever. I know the mayoral elections are coming. What do you call it again? The other elections are coming. But this one right now, at this point in time, they do not have any representation in Parliament.
I'm not, Mama, man. It's so disheartening and disappointing.
Yeah, the people, the guy that Surahata was talking about, he lost his seat.
Yes.
Yeah, that makes me very sad, though.
Yeah, the amount of people you don't expect when you contest in this election, moving forward, and these were the people. Most of them said that the Gambia is hard and the government is not capable and Bro is not capable. And this was meant to be not about party thing. It was meant to be about supporting the right people like Dr. Sise, like Yakumba, like even this Omar Sise, like this Sana Jawara. That guy, I will never stop talking about his name because he's the one I know him. Sunakone, he hates UDP, I'll join UDP. That guy. I once told him, you know.
Which guy?
Sana Jawara.
Yeah.
Sana Jawara.
You know, yes.
Sana Jawara.
Man Talib is my UDP lead.
You know, so
Did they tell him as party leader, I will be campaign manager?
You know, so hanga, these people, mama, Gambia cannot move forward without having new digger bopa yinga hame, new ham yinga hame, nyoy talk, be defiant about government. When government brings something on them like loans, you know, we know how we equate those loans. Like Khalifa Salah, Bimowa, the debt of the Gambia, and even the unborn child, how much he or she will pay. We need people who could divide these things, who could put this thing into perspective so that the jakati masabi namuna ham lan la nguur gi sen pisi pasar bi ni ban negative effect la am on sen figay tok di jaay gerte or di jaay marché or di jaay jën. Why without Dr. Cisse, I was expecting him to contest like Issa Fall. They did not. And these people, they said
I was really expecting, you know, all of those people, like you said, the SFRs, the Dr. Cisses, because that's how you build your political base as well.
Exactly. And CA, being a new political party, how much interest did they invest in these elections? How much? Can the CA, debate April 5th, December 5th, can they go to land? One, are they a serious party? Are they a party that want to lead the Gambia? Ndax dañ mo su tangé gaay daw su nexé gaay ñew. Well, now we could all tell CA, all their politics and campaign was against single person, which Anambra. The same thing about to GDC. The arrogance of Mama Kante has paid off. From 5, since the party was formed. Since second election, we expect a free and fair one. People to vote willingly after Yajame. More this one, they should have get more. And GDC has been the party that has done so much to the communities, more than any other party in the Gambia. Boreholes, maybe they change their name to Borehole Party. They have been doing so much good in the communities. But why didn't they win? It's either, well, they inject candidates who the people don't want, like GDC, like what happened to NPP, or they're not picking the right candidates, or they are not talking to the people. I don't mean by who is a giving what. If talking to the people is talking to them in the language.
Okay.
I
saw this post before Paos. PDIS should become an NGO or a pressure group. Should that be the same for GDC, for GMC, for CA? Should they become NGOs or pressure groups, or you know, so that they actually, I don't know, because I'm not Lolo, and a lot of the PDIS people jumped on him. Well, at least PDIS, I'm in 2 seats in the National Assembly. When you look at GDC, like I said, GMC, CA, and PPP, they don't have any representation at the moment at the Parliament.
So now it's our National Assembly, Mama, is not democratic because it didn't have a fair representation. Now, this brings me to the point. Democracy is not democratic itself. It's not about who can. It's about who get the highest majority. And that gives a blind eye to anything else. It's about kuopale. Where the scale goes up, you are the man. So democracy is not democratic. The Western world inject us the word democracy. Look at example, Ukraine and Russia. Killing them every single day. The whole world is watching, giving them arms. Since when did giving arms legal in this world? You wake up and we are dying in the UK. Things are hard in the UK. They're giving billions worth of arms to Ukraine to go and fight against Russia instead of telling Russia stop. So how democratic is this world? It's no. More in the Gambia, what we have, we should rather cherish what brings us together, more the Gambianism, and what is enshrined in our national anthem. And stop mumbling about democracy, blah blah. It does not exist. It's not real. If democracy was real, then the whole world would tell Russia stop. But no, it's not happening. Let's get to what unites us more, the Gambian thing that unites us. Let maneuver through this hardship we are in this world. Hardship is everywhere, and Gambia right now, it's not producing. we have to change from dollars to either dollar or safer to buy food to come into Gambia. How is the government able to support in this hard time? UK example, when we had this COVID, we are all happy. Man, I'm not 500 pounds. After I'm not 200 pounds. But then we are paying the price. The tax has increased to pay that price. The guy you going to do the COVID, give their citizens money or food, they are paying the price. Gambia may be hard. Senegal may be nice infrastructure-wise, but you go to the average household in Senegal, do leka, because they could offer. So, in as much as the hard Gambia is still the smiling coast of West Africa, and that will never change. It's only social media that is having that impression that Gambia is hard. But we still go there for Christmas. Right now, we are doing overtimes. We are saving to go to Gambia. Why do we stay in the UK or America? We want to go to Gambia because of Mama. Gambia is still a smiling coast. From Gambia, what you will do more, you want to go to 1 week in Senegal, enjoy. So the economy of Senegal, of course, it will grow because you have Gambians going there every weekend for business. You have Gambians going there every day for Christmas for 2 weekends. Why wouldn't the economy grow? What is the Gambian doing? Gambian right now, we have Dungaram, we have Cotton, we have Malan. What is the Gambian businessman or woman using made in Gambia to reflect Gambia and be sold in the Gambia? What? Even time Hesalsa, Senegal mixed up. The Kawar, Senegal, New Gambia right now. We have these things in the Gambia. We have mangoes, we have kabas, we have this kabagal. Can empower right now? So what is the Gambian doing to empower Gambia's economy? Now coming back, lastly, so that affair KMC, government KMC. KMC went into PPP with a company called Space, private partnership agreement thing. The government cannot give tax rebate on a private thing. If KMC could have, did that happen in the case of Bandul? We know how may regular attack the farm. Lumbo any te am tax rebate of come by for Singurgi because hamna the doors. So sometimes it's not about the politics. Let's look at the policy behind why things happen. This is why we need to have competent people in that house to make sure these policies are looked at and change immediately. Right now, I hope that when they go in there, the first thing they're going to work on is a constitution, which I guess this time around, so where I pass where I fail, because of the government will have the numbers by all means. Because those 10, at least 5 of them we go to MPP. And now, even UDP, if they want to be so tough like they were before, they will lose their members again. Now remember, we changed the law. When your party expel you, you still remain in the house as an independent candidate. That has changed. Now, are they going to be nehaling them? They're not your nehal guy, nanka, or what? Because the moment they start firing their MPs, they go to the government. And it's going to happen like before. Fatima Jawara was never MPP. She was UDP. What took her to MPP? Because of the tough stance of UDP against them.
I think it's good for these MPs to know that when they go into parliament, they go in there and they're voting, and the voting should be on national interest, not on party interest. And I think once that is done, even if they vote with NPP on national issues, even if they vote with NPP on national issues, they should not be expelled or made to feel that they have betrayed their parties. I think that is very important. We as a country, and I keep saying this, ñun dañ am problème bo xamné ñun duñuy xalaat dëkk bi interest dëkk bi interest nit ñi ci dëkk bi interest suñ parti suñ politics yoy lañ dé xalaat. And I think ne it's time ñun ñëpp ñu jàppante légui politique bi dañ ko wara dépasser ko ñu door liggéey bi 5 years from 2017 ba légui ñu ngi politique di wax di bika ci suñ biir di xulo di wax bu sew dara nekku di dox suñ continuer ci bika ak wax bu sew bi ni ak lefin bi du dem nañ leen liggéey bu time liggéey jotee ñu liggéey bu time politique jotee ñu dem politique waaye buñ continuer bu politique jotee ñu politique after politique ñu continuer politique bi nekk rek nag ci politique bi bañ a bàyyi politique bi bañ a bàyyi waxi politique bi ñun daal politique suba ngoon guddi bëccëg on Facebook on everywhere. We have no time to develop our country because we're busy politicking. Suma bokkuta yow parti nekkuma UDP nekkuma NPP mënuñoo liggéey together mënuñoo waxtaan mënuñoo def dara together dafa dem ba fi mu nekk ni suñ xaritoo yi sax suñ xaritoo yi sax laa la wax mu ngi yaaxu because man su ma nekkutee NPP ñun mënuñoo xaritoo man bu ma nekkutee UDP ñun mënuñoo xaritoo seetatuñ dëkk bi ñu put the country first ñun ñëpp ñu ngi mel ni ay xawma lan man dama dee toog ma seet everything that is happening around me and I'm so sad by it. I'm so sad by the fact that ñun fi mu nekk nii nekkatuñ Gambians we are NPP UDP GMC and APRC ñun noonu lañ dee categoriser suñ boppa not as Gambians. We do not see ourselves as Gambians. Politics is so polarized in this country. Law wax ñu politico. Ñu sagante ñu hulo. How long are we going to continue to ignore our country, ignore our ignore everything that is happening si dëkk bi, continue rek di politique, continue rek si hulo bi ak bickering. Bu kii defee ñu yaxal ko, ñu ngi sabotageante because we feel that that's the only way. That's the only way bi nga xam ne moom la ñoo mun a putee ñun suñ politics ahead. I think that we have to talk. Surahata, let me give you this opportunity to comment here. What happens after this film nekani? Are we going to say we have these seats, so we're going to parliament to block everything? Are we saying that we have these seats, we're going for the national interest, and are we going to show this country that if UDP is given a government in 2024, they are ready to work for the people and instead of party lines? So are we going to continue to say that if UDP goes into parliament, any MP that votes on national issues and not on party lines will be expelled or will have a problem with the party?
Oh, anyway, I'm not an executive member of UDP, but one thing I know,
No,
UDP
but I
is
want your opinion. I want your opinion.
UDP is always working on the national interest, and this is what they always talk about. If you're in the House of Parliament, work on the national interest. But the thing is, the politicking you're talking about in the Gambia, everybody is talking about politics, no work. This is the thing. If Adam Barrow change his plan of chair towards the citizen, things will change. But if he stay there, Garawala people not talking about something important, trying to throw everything out of the window, then the politicking in Gambia will stay forever, and the corruption will stay forever. This is the thing. Those National Assembly who are voting right now, I know most of these people, they're going to work very, very hard towards national development. But once they start taking brown envelope from the president, then most of them will turn back to the president again, supporting him. Whatever he said, that's what they're going to support. Right now, they will start thinking about...
Is it brown envelope or national interest? What do you think comes first?
Well, Mama,
because you know, if I am an MP and I go in there, whether I am independent or I belong to APRC or whatever, if I go there and vote on national interest, even if I'm voting with NPP, we see it as a problem. We as you know, your party will see it as a problem because nobody's suppose whatever is not in that is going to put the ruling party in good light. Because that is not going to be good for you politically. That's how some people think.
Mama, that's wrong. If I am a National Assembly member, your constituency send you there to represent them. You have to always vote for the interest of the country. But guess what happened during these last 5 years? Most of these MPs, they vote zero because the new constitution doesn't favor the president of the day. And that new constitution is very, very important. After they spend millions of dollars, but none of them care about the new constitution. They don't care about national interest, but they care what's going to favor Adam Barrow and his cabinet. They threw a lot of them out of the window. This is the thing.
I can tell you, you know, I know some laws, some amendments to laws that are waiting to be voted. And those laws are still delayed at the parliament because everybody is thinking, you know, I should take credit for this. If I don't get the credit for it, I will not vote for it. We are politicking even on our laws. And it's a problem. I think we all have to recognize that definitely, it's time, whether you're NPP, UDP, GDC, you know, APRC, NRP, whatever party you belong to. I think we all have to recognize that what unites us should be bigger than what should divide us. And if we recognize that to start with, then we should all recognize that sometimes we will vote, all of us, on issues of national interest that will not even suit our party, but we will vote on those issues because the national interest comes into play. And sometimes I wonder whether it's the NPP NAMs or the UDP NAMs or the APRC NAMs or what the PDOS NAMs, whether they think about Gambia first before party. Whether when you go to that National Assembly, you think about Gambia first before your party, before yourself. Because you see, when we don't think about our country first, when we put ourselves first, our interests first, our party interests first, before we think about Gambia and Gambia's interests first, then we are going to continue to have this problem and Gambia is going nowhere. We all have a problem with an airport that has been refurbished and there's no AC. We all have a problem with an airport that has been refurbished and there's no sitting area for coming to collect your guests. We all have a problem with the national health system. Nobody here, not me, not anybody sitting here, is happy about maternal mortality in the country. None of us are happy about the deaths of people in hospitals due to basic infections, due to basic problems. None of us are happy with the level of corruption that is uncurbed. None of us. None of us are happy with this ports authority, where Gambians are now, instead of Senegalese bringing their cars like before, now it's Gambians that they will ship their cars to Senegal and then from Senegal ship it to Gambia. None of us are happy with the high cost of commodities. None of us are happy with the high cost of clearing your goods at the ports. None of us are happy with the thefts, the stealing at the ports, and all of these things are being done by Gambians. It's not foreigners doing these things. None of us are happy with the foreign domination of our businesses in the Gambia, because it means that we are not controlling our economy. Foreigners are controlling our economy. How are we going to advocate? What is UDP and all these other opposition parties going to do in parliament to say that, you know what, we are going to sponsor a bill that says that Gambian businesses need to be given tax breaks? We need to be able to encourage Gambian entrepreneurs. We need to be able to encourage the young people to be able to go into entrepreneurship, to be so that they can be the likes of the Mohamed Jazz and the other Gambians in that country. What party is going to come and look at those issues holistically and say that, you know what, we are going into that parliament to handle these issues. We're going to this parliament to sponsor these bills like Tumanjai did with the women representation bill. We want to see UDP and APRC and all these other opposition parties going into the National Assembly and saying, you know what, this is the issue that is most important to Gambians right now. Let us go into this parliament and sponsor a bill on this, so that if UDP sponsors a bill like that and say we want tax breaks for Gambian entrepreneurs or businesses, because we want Gambians to be able to control the economy, we want Gambians to be able to run the economy. If they go into that parliament with that bill and sponsor it, if the NPP fights and does not vote for that bill, then at least they are putting the pressure, or they are showing the people that NPP are voting on party lines and not voting on national interests. And the same vice versa goes for NPP. Let them go and handle the issues of the people in that parliament. If they bring in those issues, not a bill that's saying that, we're rejecting this because of term limits for the president, but let them bring issues or bills that will be about national interest. And if, again, UDP does not support that bill, that national interest bill, because they are looking at party lines, again, we will be able to see clearly which parties are hampering the development of the country and the people. But we cannot continue to have partisan politics and nobody is taking care of the issues that matter to Gambians. And this is why I am worried about this parliament. I am worried about the people that are going there. I'm worried about what kind of mindset they're going into that parliament. Because if they're going into that parliament looking at party and not national interest, believe me, another 5 years we'll be sitting here having the same issues, having the same problem, and Gambia will not be going anywhere. So I am appealing to the newly elected National Assembly members I am appealing to them. Think about Gambia. You are Gambian first before you are NPP or UDP or whatever. Put Gambia's interest and Gambians' interest first. When you go into that parliament, sponsor or vote and support bills that are for the national interest, regardless of which party brings in those bills. Let us work as Gambians to improve the livelihoods of Gambians, because right now Gambians are suffering. Yes, there was a protest vote against UDP. There's now a protest vote against Barrow. And if it continues, there will be, there's a protest vote against GDC. There's a protest vote against all of these other parties, because no party won this National Assembly. No party won this National Assembly election. All the parties have lost because people do not have confidence in your style of leadership and your style of doing business. This is what Gambians are showing you. We went from one independent candidate in 2017 to 10 independent candidates in 2022. Clearly, Gambians are showing you guys that they do not like the way that you're doing business. All of you, whether it's NPP, UDP, all of you. Gambians keep voting to show you that this cannot be business as usual. You cannot continue to run the affairs of this country as you're doing. Are you listening? Whether it's NPP, is Barrow listening? Whether it's UDP, is Usainu Dabo listening? Is APRC listening? Are these parties listening? And I always bring in just these two parties, NPP and UDP, because they form the majority of the representation in Parliament. Are you listening to the concerns of the population? Are you ready to go into that Parliament and try and work for national interest and not party lines? That is my question to and it's being thrown out there for people or for the parties, whether it's NPP or UDP, to really sit down on the drawing board. You need to sit down on the drawing board and get this right for the people. The people are protesting and they're voting to protest that they do not like the status quo. They do not like what is happening. Nobody won. Nobody won. 2017, UDP had 31 seats. From 31 seats, there are now 15 seats in Parliament. That clearly shows a protest vote. Whether you have expelled some or not, you have gained some of the seats back or not, it clearly shows that there is a protest vote going on and people are not happy. People voted overwhelmingly for Adama Barrow in 2022, not because they really wanted him, but they were voting, some say, because of the lesser evil. Now, maybe that is based on perception, but there was a protest vote against UDP. Again, UDP needs to take that into consideration. Are these parties listening? Is NPP listening? Is UDP listening? Are you going to continue as business as usual, or are you willing? Are you willing to say that we might be the problem? Let us look within and try and see how best we can solve these issues that Gambians are voting against, because Gambians are protest voting. Whether you like it or not, whether you see it or not, Gambians are protest voting. Tijan, I know you're in. Let me let you come in here.
Well, let me say good afternoon, everybody out there. Just listening to you, and I think I cannot agree more. You look at the number of independent candidates that have won. It clearly tells you.
In 2017, there was one independent candidate to now 10 in 2022.
Yeah, it clearly tells you that the electorate is sending a strong message. That is not business as usual. I kind of agree. It's unprecedented, really, in Gambian political history or elections. Those that have covered elections many years ago, from a historical standpoint, maybe one or two independents would win, but 10 does send a message and a signal. Is it both, the voters are not satisfied with the delivery that the system promised, and this is their way of telling government in particular and the ruling party that, listen, man, you have to listen to us. And moving forward, I hope that would be the case. But This is a very resounding victory for independence to
Yes.
take 10 seats in cabinet and in parliament. And I think it's also good and rich for our democracy, particularly a fledgling democracy. I think this is good. There'll be some balance in parliament, and hopefully it will not be a rubber stamp parliament. It will be a parliament that we expect and we have yearned for all these years, where we'll go to tiebreakers and so forth. So I think it was a good election, really, and I also commend the many women that have participated in these year's elections, and making the voice of the woman more prominent in our politics. I am sure the first woman that ever led a political party in the Gambia, Claire, St. Claire Youth is looking from the heavens. Happy and Hannah Augusta Mahoney, the first woman to run for elections in the Gambia in the Town ward in the 60s, is also looking down today happily. The Nyimasata Sane Bojangs. It's a good day for Gambian democracy, really. And already the elections have been deemed free and fair. So I think a plus there for the government and the IEC. Now, it's not going to be business as usual in Parliament. There's going to be some balance. And I think it's what our country needs to move forward with a body that can, a body that can put laws together, laws that would be in the interest of our nation. So personally, I look forward to some good debates. My only but or disappointment is that the Honorable Halifa Saleh has retired, but I do look forward to very interesting.
And Sidia will no longer be there. But Tijan, can I just ask you quickly, what are your impressions on NPP not winning any seats in Banjul, in KMC, and only managing one seat in the whole of West Coast region? I mean, that must tell you something about how the urban are voting.
I think in your previous statements, when you analyzed, you just nailed it. Is it voter apathy? Maybe. Is it the people sending a strong message that this is not the way that we want to go? I mean, you got to remember that an independent picked up a seat in Banjul. Was that independent NPP? We don't know that, and I don't know that. But for, like you said, for the NPP not picking up any seats in that area, I think it speaks volumes, and I think it's time that the NPP go back to the drawing board and try to look at, let's say, those 5 W's: what, why, where, when, and how. And it's time to take a closer look. And you always got to remember that planning is a predetermined course of action in management. And if you just sit there complacent, thinking that, well, the principal was overwhelmingly elected in December, this is cakewalk. Today, it's not cakewalk. We saw the APRC No Alliance sweep the Fonies. That was expected. But again, it shows the division in our politics. I think they have more work to do. The NPP does have more work to do. Today, if they've not gotten this message, I think they're in for a rude awakening.
Definitely. I also want to, we spoke about the voter turnout, 51.2%. That's very low. It's over minus 40% from the presidential elections. But Tijan, we have parties that will no longer have any representation in the National Assembly. GDC had 5 seats in 2017. Now they don't have a single seat. CA does not have a seat. GMC does not have a seat. PPP had 2 seats in the National Assembly in 2017. 2022, they have 0 seats. What is the future for these parties, GDC, CA, GMC, PPP?
I don't think I'll be doing justice to them if I want to sit here in my comfort of my living room to make an assessment on the future. However, with veteran parties like the GDC in particular, I think that's an indictment. And they need to look into their inner selves and find a way to come back strong. Now, CA, of course, they're taking baby steps. I think they did put up a solid campaign in the areas that they contested. I think they have time to grow, and they will grow. I think they have the requisite attributes to put the structure in place, and they're doing that. They've taken baby steps. They'll get there gradually. The GMC, of course, my good friend, my Ahmad Fati. Of course, are these parties inexistent? There's no noise. I mean, you got to remember, Gambian politics comes with noise and presence and awareness. Particularly the presence is more of the presence in the country. So I will not want to assess what the future holds for them, but I do think they need some work to do. And like a young party like the CA, I think they're in the right direction. And it will be a matter of time, and they'll get there. You see, you got to remember, Mama, I am very apolitical, actually. And so I try to be as balanced as I can be as an analyst, because I don't have any political leanings whatsoever.
Yes. We're looking at Bandul constituency on the spreadsheet right now, or on the PowerPoint. Abdullah Njai, the independent one, you spoke about this being really a win for the independent candidates, because they went from having just one independent candidate in 2017 in Parliament to now having 10 independent candidates in Parliament, Tijan. But also, this is, of course, as you said, a significant win for the independents. And it also shows, like you said, that, and like I was talking about, that some of the parties really need to assess how they select candidates, because some of these people were actually going to run on party tickets. They were rejected and they went independent and they won. So there has to be some sort of talking internally to see what happened there in terms of choosing the best candidate and not the candidate maybe that is liked by the executive. So that is really something that needs to be looked at. But Tijan, what do you say right now? NPP, can they push any development agenda with this Hong Parliament?
Can they push any development agenda with this Parliament? Well, the word development agenda, I think, is a national cause. To build a nation, I think we all must come together. So I would think a development agenda presented to the National Assembly within the right parameters should be pushed by an entire Parliament. Now, we're talking of what is in that development agenda. The nitty-gritty is, in case in that development agenda, will it pass through Parliament? Time will tell. And also, Mama, you touched on a point here that most of these independent candidates were going to run on party tickets, but were not selected. Now, what is there to convince you and I that there will not be special elections if they cross carpet and go to their respective parties again, and we go back to special elections? There's nothing to tell me they're not going to do that, because I think the rules have changed. Now you just can't, you may correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think now you can just cross carpet and take a seat like that without special election. Am I right?
I think the rules change, Paos, and it means that if you can go to the other party, but you don't lose your seat. I think, Paos, that's what the rule says now.
If you are dismissed from your party or expelled, you don't lose your seat. You can choose to go, just like in the case of those four former. Yeah. So and yeah, rightly said, it will change and it will change.
It will change. But
Yes.
Paus, you know, man, my, you know, my what I'm trying to say here, you know, I know one that will never cross carpet. I can sit here and I know one candidate that I know for a fact. And you know, I had a role in her life. I was a big brother. You know, I know her integrity. I know for a fact she will not cross carpet. And you guys know who I'm talking to. Now, the other 9 that run on a party ticket, that way their parties were rejected. How do we know that these seats are not going to go to NPP or UDP? And if the majority were NPP, you know, we don't know that, right?
No, yeah.
It's
Some of them were rejected by NPP. Some, yeah, a lot of them actually were rejected by NPP.
Well,
even said the soul that won in what's his name again? The soul guy that won. He actually wanted to contest on the NPP. They rejected him. He went to UDP and he won. What's the seat again? Let me just go back and check that.
It's a combo.
Yeah, combo somewhere. That soul guy that the UDP and now.
But most of the independent candidates they are MPP, but because of the MPP, whatever that will happen in their party, they reject them. But their community want them to contest. That's why they did their thing. But
all right.
they've been insulted. They've been insulted by Hamid Ba and even their party leader that they are worse than UDP and the oppositions. So I don't think they will go back to NPP anymore.
Well, you don't want to say. I don't think I want to say that. There's something I learned when I trained as a diplomat, that diplomacy is permanent interest. So I will never say no in politics.
There's no permanent enemy. It was a one-time thing, and it's one-off, and it's done dusted.
Exactly.
Now, not brown envelope now. The big black envelope is coming.
I am pleading the fifth on that.
because look at it this way. You have 10 independent MPs who any party can play along with. Now, what does the opposition have to offer to them? Nothing. And besides, you have 5 or 4 NRPs who are definitely in support of the government, and that guarantees the job of Ahmad Ba in his government for the next 5 years. So, what will change in the Gambia? That'll change it. In the eyes of the world, the headline and the cover of the book looks perfectly democratic and nice. But the contents of the book is different from what we see from the outside, and this is politics.
We call it cosmetic in diplomacy.
Yes, I call you out, bro. Teda anakala I def nangam ni blah blah blah. I table a subject. Of course, you would put me. What do I gain from that? It's the human nature. And given the Gambia, given the caliber of people I see here going to the parliament, given how hard this country is, what will it cost me if I pass a bill here and you give me $100,000? Well, of course,
I think this is where I said, we need to look at national interest and not, people,
politics and morals.
I was having this discussion yesterday. And I said that we talked about never again in the TRRC. And never again is a slogan that, unfortunately, we did not go far enough with that never again, because we still have the same values and the same compromised people within the system. We are not teaching our kids and even ourselves that there are some positions that you cannot compromise on. There are some issues of integrity that you do not compromise on, because it's not about you, it's about national interest and the interest of people. When you burden the whole country even your generations with debt, that is something that is you should consider as a position that you should not take. When you look at when a corrupt person comes and gives you $100,000 and gives you expired goods that goes into the market, what happens is that whether you like it or not, even your family can go and eat that and be sick. So when we look at those value issues, we look at those value value positions that should not be compromised, we are not teaching ourselves nor our children that if Yaya Jammeh comes and puts a gun on your head like he did with Ali Moman Jai, stand your position, because even if you die within that, it's better than to compromise and put the rest of the country in something that will even be a detriment to even more people. So I think the values are something that we need to go back on, Tijan, and I think we are not doing enough in terms of even teaching, and I keep saying this, even teaching our children the national anthem and what it stands for, and patriotism and nationalism, etc. So exactly, so integrity. When we lose our integrity, when we lose our value system and we compromise our integrity and our value systems, we put not just ourselves at risk, but we put the whole interest of a country and a whole people at risk. We have seen it with contracts that are given, with substandard work that is happening, and this will impact not just the person that has done it, but generations to come. When we go to the market and it's an expensive market, it's not expensive just for UDP supporters. It's expensive for NPP supporters. It's expensive for Gambians, because we are all Gambians. So when we sabotage some of these things that are happening in the country, we sabotage the government, or we sabotage development, or we sabotage projects, etc. We are doing these things. We're sabotaging the whole country and even ourselves. And when we don't learn these things, then never again is not far enough, does not go far enough in tackling some of the issues, because you still have people in the army who are willing today, if given an instruction, to compromise their oath the oath that they swore to protect the territorial integrity of the country and the people, and they will go and shoot somebody for an order that they got. So if we're not addressing these values and these issues of integrity and ethics, then we're not going far enough as far as never again is concerned, because these things can still have a tendency to happen in that country. And I think, therefore, it's important when people go into the National Assembly, and I keep saying this, that when they go into this National Assembly, they themselves look at their positions from a nationalistic, patriotic position instead of from a party position. Even if you're going to go against your party, do it based on the interest of the people and not your and if you're doing it based on the interest of the people, that party will be seen. That party will be seen to be fighting the interests of the people because of party interests, and that is something that we need to show Gambians so that they see it clearly. Tijan, I don't know what your thoughts are about this, but I think we're absolutely missing the point when it comes to what values we need to take to our institutions, whether it's the National Assembly, justice, the cabinet, you name it. We are missing some of these values that we need to take with us.
I totally agree with you. I think decency should be one of them, and patriotism and commitment to duty and to the republic. I don't think we have enough of that in our country. And you saying that takes me back to a quote I loved growing up. And Ahmed Sekou Touré said it to the French: "I prefer to die poor in dignity rather than die rich as a slave." I think that is a very, very strong statement.
Profound statement.
And I think it should profoundly be apt for our neck of the woods. Integrity is not a word of choice. I'm sorry to say this, but it's a fact. It is not a word of choice in that country. I mean, you can count the people, that have it, Paos, right?
Sorry.
And I think, thank you, Surahata. Thank you for coming. We appreciate your input as well. Thank you so much. You know, if UDP has more people like you, I swear to God, even people like me will be here clapping my hands and supporting you guys.
No,
Go ahead, Carl.
just a comment that fana li comme li ma wax rek in the beginning ne the game is still on. ñu ne xamal ñu ko waxee naka ba tey affaire si géej naka ñu ne affaire si génn si géew li something like that daal. The Gambia we used to have will still be the Gambia that we have now. Now, my problem or our problem has been then for our problem was only Barrow. And when we have a good and effective parliament, the president cannot be a problem. It takes only 2/3 majority of that parliament to remove the president out of office straight away. So what we need again more the constant civic education to educate our people and also to educate our National Assembly, because I'm sure these newly elected members, they will go through a training for a week and how the process and procedures of National Assembly. Now, if they know their mandate very well and know how powerful they are, it doesn't matter how much powerful the president is right now. Yes, he can veto at some point, but he can't be an obstacle to the development of the Gambia. He is a one-man show. Well, right now, supposedly with a less mandate in parliament, power-wise. Now, but again, soon members am nañ this mandate pour muna be the person who they said they are, and to do what they have been campaigning for the past 2 weeks. Can they put those things into practice now in parliament? 9 out of 10 is a no, because of the campaign message and the job are different. I have seen a candidate saying, I'm now manifesto. I will do A, B, C, and D. We don't even have transport to go to work as National Assembly members. So what are they going to do now? We have now, Barrow has a potential to use 10 plus 5, and from that 15, he can get 10 or 5. It happened before. We had 4 cost carpet. So what to stand here and say ne dumunta a majority right now is something linga hamne it's a joke. He can have it.
Mama, I agree with him. I would not be surprised to see a headline on the Standard: 6 independent candidates pay courtesy call on president at State House.
I will not have a problem with that as long as they're working for the national interest. My only thing is, and I keep saying this, I don't care if it's, NPP or UDP or whatever. What I want to see in that National Assembly is people working for national interests and not for party lines, we have to, after politics, I think, it's still so annoying and irritating that we cannot move past politics even after elections. Our debates, everything is along party lines. And even our, I was talking before you arrived, Tijan, that we cannot even be friends now, because if you're UDP and I'm not UDP or whatever, you're seeing me as an enemy, so we're not looking at each other as Gambian brothers and sisters. We're looking at each other as UDP brothers and sisters, NPP brothers and sisters, you name it. It means that, the national unity, the cohesion that we should have as a people, I don't see that being developed by the political rhetoric that I'm seeing so far. And it's very, very sad.
I totally agree with you. And it takes me back to my first briefing with an incoming ambassador here, Esa Bokarsi, and in a one-on-one meeting, just me and him in his office. And I remember him he told me a very profound statement. And he said to me, the Gambia is bigger than you and I. Our mission here is to take what's best out of this country to the Gambia, and we'll be out of here, but Gambia will still be here. And that statement still stays with me. It had a profound impact on me. Mm-hmm. The Gambia is bigger than you and I. But how many people wake up in the morning and think so, that Gambia is bigger than us and that we owe it to our country to be committed to build that country for generations, rather than filling our pockets or rubber what we can do at the expense of the ordinary Gambian that could lay in a hospital without blood bags or the right equipment in the hospital. And it goes back to integrity, what you were talking about. And they are all correlated here.
Charles, I don't know if you want to come in there. We are approaching our 3 hour mark.
Deadline.
So definitely yes.
Yeah, and I think Lee is well, it's good that we have it this way. And formerly in the history of the Gambia, man, as far as I can remember, Musnyo this kind of narrow margins leading. It has never happened. That is a plus. And well, the whole world again will clap for Gambia. Now, what is left now? What will Gambia make out of what they have achieved yesterday? Now, this is the responsibility of every Gambian to ask this question now, including the president himself. Now, many people are expecting the president to nominate people like Khalifa for the purpose of being a speaker in the House.
But
him,
Khalifa has retired. I don't think he would want to come back to Parliament.
He may want to come not as a politician, but remember, the speaker would not be. Mama, we need somebody like well, the expectation is that with these 5 who are coming, that's man personally, that's how I would used to define who Barrow is. And that will define moving forward what kind of a government are we going to have in the Gambia. Now, I was giving this government chance until the end of these elections when they have full government to see where we move on and how are they going to put their steps onto these policies and these bad laws we've been crying. If what we cannot change in 2017, now is the time to change it. Now, these new people coming in, totally almost new, or most of them new, do they know what was at stake? Well, are they aware of these things that are of urgent matters to the Gambia? You know, and then the definition of what Gambia would be lies on this parliament we have and what Gambia is going to make out of these people we have. I'm not saying, well, I just said the parliament we had in 2017 was the most average weak parliament we ever had in the Gambia. And the same thing might happen again. Now, I've seen people who don't know nothing about the constitution, who won the elections, and they're going to be there to speak on my behalf, to change laws, to make laws. And these laws are not just laws for the country, but for the people. So we don't want laws that are there as a statement which can be implemented. And we have seen what has been happening recently right now. So, yeah.
Let me just touch in there. I think you just hit the nail on. Now, when Baron Montesquieu wrote his book, Spirit de Loi, the spirit of laws, and he theorized separation of powers, he talked about the independence of each organ of government, the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary, and how if there was a fusion of powers, the life of the citizenry may be exposed to arbitrary control, Now, it makes it more important, to your point, of the role of parliamentarians going to parliament. And also being cognizant of the power that they have at their disposal as the law enacting body of the republic. Now, from an international diplomatic standpoint, this day is a big day for the president, in the sense that free and fair elections were conducted under his watch, and gives them applause in the international arena, without a doubt.
Yeah.
You talked about the speakership. I think there would not be a better candidate than Khalifa Babukar Saleh to be the speaker. And I think if we really want parliamentary decorum and where our parliamentarians really execute the responsibilities that they are charged with to the best of their abilities, as they would say in their oath. I think that that person, if he accepts and if he is offered, I think there would not be a better speaker in the history of Gambian politics than Halifa Babakar Sallah.
Yeah, and the same, either or as his advisor, because I heard him recently saying, "Bro, the government hasn't got good policies," and then he's right. Well, in the first place, can we identify a policy and a program because of a government with EU's like as I knew them regular? That's what we got, and then it's like a ship in the middle of the ocean where there is no compass, going by the flow of the wind. Hopefully, one day they will get to shore.
And you are so right. I mean, I always say this: before you implement policy, you should be able to formulate it.
Exactly.
Now, if you look at what happened in Gambia, for example, I know you've been caught in traffic in Gambia. Now, I want to ask myself, who was sitting there 10 years ago not thinking there's going to be population growth?
No one. Yep. Yep. And development has to come to people, but it's the other way around, not people going for development. And then now we find it very hard even to extend roads because development is coming to find us a populated area.
Well, honestly, Paus, one of the things that I will challenge this parliament, quite frankly, would be healthcare system. They need to make sure that our healthcare system works, and parliament has that authority and they can do it. You know, you can build all the bridges you want to build and all the roads, but if you have a sick nation, who is going to use those bridges and roads?
Ambulances.
I mean, you know, I think that should be priority number one, for parliament to work with government and say, listen, let's fix this healthcare system. This is a country,
and this is where I'm coming from, Tijan, that working together, parliament and government, that working together for the national interest, regardless of party lines or whatever. This is where we have a problem. You know, we've seen it with this outgoing National Assembly. Are we going to have the same problem of not working together because we're not in the same party? We see it within our discussions ourselves as Gambians, that we are not friends anymore because I am not NPP or I'm not UDP or I'm not this. So if we have those things within us, are we going to continue to be thinking along party lines instead of along nationalistic lines, as Halifa will say? And this is where we have a problem. But you know, we're approaching our 3-hour mark, and we really have to go.
Well, let me just revert to a statement.
Thank you so much.
Let me revert to a statement that Sadauda made on February 17th, 1965. He said, independence is not the proverbial availability of milk and honey. We must come together as one nation, work as one nation for our country. And I think that is what this parliament should do. He lies not too far from their building. And I think they should honor him by working together the way he walked with people and the way he moved that nation to a point that the Gambia's healthcare system was being copied by the whole of West Africa. And this is a fact. Countries like Ghana, Sierra Leone, they sent people to come and study and look at how Gambia did it. That's how good our healthcare system was back in the 70s. So what went wrong?
And I think it's high time. It's high time we put aside politics, put aside everything, and all of us work together to ensure that we fix these things. Whether it's the healthcare, whether it's the cost of living, all of these things, we really need to work together. Because, you know, Tijan, I always say this, when we in the diaspora and even in Gambia, when we saw ourselves as Gambians, when we work together as a united body, we saw what we achieved. We were able to get rid of 22 years of dictatorship through the ballot box because we were united. We were united, but right now, the disunity, the party politics, the toxic rhetoric, it is really hampering our development as a country. And I am, like you said, I hope that they will honor Sadauda's memory by living and walking by his principles, by coming together as a people, as Gambians first, not an independent candidate, not an NPP candidate, not a UDP candidate, not an APRC candidate or PDIS candidate, but as Gambians first, to ensure that they put the interest of this nation and its people first, because this nation is crying out. This nation is suffering. We are going back. When you look at our ports, you want to cry. And I always say this: the people sabotaging their Gambians, the people putting, project documents and not implementing them, they're Gambians. The people stealing at the ports, your fellow Gambians, they struggle, pay for their goods and bring it, and you steal it at the ports. Those people are Gambians. Tijan, when you go everywhere, the people that are taking these bribes and putting these expired foods into the market, they are Gambians. You know, how do we value our being Gambian? What is being Gambian to us? What does it mean to us? You know, the high prices at the market, that's everybody, that's all the Gambians. It doesn't matter if you're NPP, UDP, APRC, we are all suffering because of these high prices at the market. And it's Gambians and again, non-Gambians that are controlling our business atmosphere that are responsible for this. I think, I keep saying this and I cannot overemphasize this. Please, let's think about Gambia first. Let's put our differences aside. Let's try and work together for the interest of this nation. Wallahi, I sometimes I cannot sleep at night because I'm just thinking, when are we going to put Gambia first? When are we going to realize that it's only in unity that we can achieve as a nation? Tijan, let me let you close.
That you, Mama, you just killed it. I mean, I think what you said can be done, and I encourage the President of the Republic to take the lead in this. Call for a national conference, a national unity conference. I think he's a very peaceful man and a very respectful man.
Senegal, by inviting all the opposition to come on board and really, do something, because we have to unite. We have to work with Gambians.
I had the opportunity of visiting with him shortly when I was in the Gambia, and I found him to be a very respectful man and peaceful man, for that matter. And I think he's committed to the things that you've said here. And I would encourage him, the commander-in-chief, the man that is the custodian of the coat of arms designed by René Potin, which is the symbol of the mandate he's given, to call a national conference of unity, involve religious leaders. Let them sit in that cabinet room and talk. You know, all of you mus nañoo anda tuñ amna waaye mus nañoo bokkatuñ amul musuta am te du am mukk. But I'll leave it there. I encourage him to engage all the other constituencies, in the political discourse, to come together and sit down and do this for Gambia. Do this for Edward Francis Small, that stood in Kaur and defied a white man so that you and I can be free today. Fode Kamba Dumbuya dying in Matador, Mabajau. They can do it for those people. And I hope they will, because I know they can. Mama, take it away.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Tijan. And thank you for always adding value to the conversations that we have here.
Very humble.
Thank you.
All right, Paul, I'll catch you later.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Unfortunately, Fadjan, we're closing, but we'll have another show on this. Thank you, Mariatu as well. We'll try and have another show on some of these issues that we're talking about here. Paos, let me let you close so we can go. We're fasting.
Yeah.
It's past prayers, and we also need to cook so that we can have something to eat.
Fisa, why do I have much to say apart from reiterate li sunu uncle Tian wax rek am ne now it's up to the president now to unify the whole country. I mean, first elections, second elections, amna, a third one is coming, and then prior to these elections, we all have a sense of identity. But the bigger picture is being a Gambian. That's more important. But apart from having an identity, after those, after campaign, after elections, right now, what is there to fight for except for national development? The funny moy they have one objective, more pour Gambia change, I think. But I think that is the only thing why we get into politics. But nobody else get into politics just to get rich. Otherwise, you are corrupt. Now, I'm appealing for these new coming member of parliaments. Let them not see themselves as being part of a party, but let them see themselves as honorable people representing the Gambia and both at home and abroad right now. We have so many bad laws we've been crying for. We have seen the owner of a truck that killed somebody else being fined $1,000. These are bad laws that we need to change. Talk on Facebook or TikTok, they on Facebook Live, they were bad law, bad law, bad law. It will never change. Healthcare, it will never get good unless we have the policies to support those changes to happen. We have the policies to make sure these things are being implemented right now. If not, the borough the fanaka fofu neka borough mansa how barakairu mansa ninko way. That will be his next name because of lolu munuko neka because of yam ngente ko lolu. But we the people and the people around him nyoko ne barakairu. You are the man, you are the lion, you can be, you can kill. Fekao, he's not the type of person. But whatever the Gambia is, whatever the Gambia would be from today moving forward is determined by this National Assembly and the reaction of the president and who he's going to pick for these 5 nominees. I hope na pick as per what the law dictates him to do. More the youth, the women, the blind, and the Christian. And again, there is no one single Christian in the National Assembly right now. Well, as far as I know, it's all made by Muslims. Where are the Christians? Now, I hope he will go. Well, even though nobody forced them not to be part of the politics, but it's a conversation where we need to have. Why are the Christians or the minority of our population not involved in politics? It's a question.
Nena Frida contested. She lost. But I think, yeah, you're right. We need to have representation in the parliament. And I think it should be done by the president through the 5 nominations that he now has the power to influence. So I think that is something that he should try and do, definitely. But just to remind people, Paos, that the National Assembly elections, NPP 18 seats, UDP 15, NRP 4, APRC of Fabakary Tombong Jatta 2, PDOIS 2 seats, and then the independents 12 seats. That's what it's looking like at the moment. Of course, the independents include the APRC Jammeh fraction, who are also counted as independent because they're not recognized by the IEC as the APRC that is registered there. So this is some of the things that has happened. We're now looking to see how this hung parliament will move in terms of coming up with laws that will develop the agenda of the Gambian people, that will look at the agenda of the Gambian people, that will support the agenda of the and the interests of the Gambian people. We hope, we can only hope and pray and ask them to really make sure that, whatever they do, they put the interest of the Gambia first, Paos.
Jërëjëf Mama, and thank you everyone ñu déglu and ñu listen and until we meet again. Mama, maa ngi toog fii maa ngi xool suma minti ma teg maa ngi ko xool waaye ndeysaan toog jotaagut
dinañ la simi jalit de.
Mango hol rek mango hol way.
Am tone chamen yi nga setan dinañ la simi chamen de.
Yeah. Why
Dinañ
not?
la simi jalit de.
Ñam ya rek mama wéru koor gi ñu bante axaate yàlla wécci xol yi te xam ne nañ or bi daal na si waaye jëma def as much ñaan pour yàlla wécci xol because mama recently suñu xol yi li fa nekka is very bad what we liñ aimé against each other is horrible. nañ bàyyi di jël vidéo papi jàmbur yi di ko caricature on social media baaxut léegi naaw Facebook live léegi right now léegi is xewut léegi xam nga léegi mën a xew léegi TikTok live baa xew léegi right now weeru koor nga or ba ngoon jot.
And that brings me to a point bo xamne bëggon na ko make. I know people are saying wow da nga mere UDP merewuma UDP, but I feel that, you know, like I said, there are a few elements ñoo xamne definitely we have to address this. You can disagree with people, but the treatment of journalists, key journalist Mustafa Swandi, and I think it's completely wrong, and we have to talk about it. I have seen the way that Sabali has basically just gone in and said very, very derogatory things about him, about his family. So Jote Nitsa, I think you limit yourself to the issues that he brought forward, and you also address those issues, but you don't go after the person as a person. You don't go after the person's family, and I think we need to stop encouraging people that are doing that, especially online. Our families have nothing to do with what we say here online. Mustafa Swandi's family has nothing to do with what he says or his views about Gambia politics, etc. And I keep telling telling people this: let's stop the way that we treat each other, the insults and the personal attacks against each other. Let's have discussions that are based on issues. Let's have issue-based discussions. When people challenge you based on issues, come back and respond based on the issues that they're challenging you on. But the kind of insults that Mustafa Swandi has received as a journalist and as a Gambian is completely wrong. And I think we all need to, to really denounce it. We cannot continue to encourage this politics of insults, this politics of tribalism, this politics of going after people's families, of going after people's, personalities or personal lives, etc. Mustafa Swandi did not address what's his name again, Momodu Sabali, based on his family, based on his personality. He addressed the facts based on what he understood it from his perspective, from the constitution, from his perspective, etc. So when you're coming back to respond, try and respond based on those points. Try and respond based on the issues that the person raises. But the moment we start going into attacking people's personalities, attacking people's families, then I think we have overstepped the mark, and we need to really not encourage that within us. And whatever has happened, Mustafa Swandi is one of the journalists that we should respect as a professional, because we have all seen his work, we have seen his contribution towards Gambia, and that is not something that anybody can take away from him. So let's not encourage people to come and be insulting people or be talking about people in those derogatory terms, including their families, when we all know that the contribution that those people have made, definitely even the people talking have not gone that far in our country. Paos, how you want to talk about something? So let's try as much as possible, to denounce those things. When we're talking, Mandama De Wahne, I don't mind anybody coming and challenging me based on the issues that I have raised. But please, let's try and avoid insulting each other. Let's try and avoid personal attacks. And the personal attacks that I have heard and seen against Mustafa Swandi, he's a colleague, but he's a Gambian, first of all. And I am a Gambian like him, and I will denounce it as a Gambian first and as a colleague as well, because I would not, if it was me, I would not accept that sort of abuse, and I will not, encourage it. And I will ask people, including the UDP, to please tone down the rhetoric and push back on this kind of rhetoric that addresses people's families, goes into their personal life, because it doesn't help the debate that we're supposed to have as a nation. Let's try to come together and work on issues and talk on issues, because that is what will move the country and us forward. But I think what I have seen definitely against Mustafa Swandi, if I don't address it, if I don't say something about it, definitely then I will not be a good, I don't think I'm a Gambian for not seeing some of the things that have happened over the past week.
Well, yeah, I'll equally join you when you condemn any form of abuse and bullying online. It's illegal, it's wrong, and it's human. But you ko def ñep ñoy Facebook taxaw te cruise the page from the Quran. There is nowhere in our religion, Islam, fu mu wax nga wax sa jëfi morom sax. There was a time when Jesus asked fine people stoning a woman for doing something wrong. For now, whoever has not done wrong, do not stone. And ku nekk stop. So at the end of the day, it's one Gambia. This is a time, Ramadan is a time for us pour ñu génne lépp lu bokkoon su ñun te nekk fa te di ko wane tey mu nuroo ak seytaane. Now is the time pour mu génna lan la mooy julli nga or wax lu baax nga jégalante, and we need to support each other. The downfall of one man in life is not the end. It's not the symbolic. Well, it's not the end of his life, and that doesn't, because failing is trying. I'm not guy in struggle, but they have the guts to come out and speak against people, and the people that they should say instead of thank you because of ganaw yalla at the country as a whole. You are part of those who make my today to be today. So Domi Adama always wanna by hell dembane demala one blate and elect dafa am, and we will always refer back to history. History will always repeat itself. It's wrong to bully people. That's why if I even do my picture of my family on social media, after 1 day, 2 days, I take it out, because the amount of disrespect and attack is so high in our community that what does it define us as a Gambian?
And they go so low. They go so low that they do not consider. And if this is what I always say. If somebody does that to you and it upsets you, if somebody does that to you and it upsets you, you should not do it to somebody. If somebody insults your family and it upsets you, you should not be insulting somebody's family. If a person, a journalist, puts their point across as a journalist, as an opinion leader, if you're coming back to respond to that person based on the issues that he has raised from his opinion. But don't go and insult people. Don't go and bring people's families into these issues, because I think it's very wrong. And I think anybody that doesn't condemn what has happened to Mustafa Swandi for only putting across his points, then you really need to consider yourself and look at the positions that you defend in that country. But I think, again, like I said, we have to come together as Gambians and not as anything else, but as Gambians. I have seen Mustafa Swandi take a position against Jammeh, take a position against Barrow. I have seen him, a lot. But and I always say this: I haven't seen Sabali to this day take a position against Jammeh. And for you to let that person sit down and denigrate this a fellow Gambian, to let that happen, I think we really need to look at how we do business as a country. And I think one of those things is really how we treat each other and how we address issues. How, if somebody comes to you and challenges you based on issues, challenge the person back based on the same issues. But to go into their family, go into their personal, personally attack them, I think it's completely wrong. And I hope, we will really look into that and start doing something about it.
Okay. We stop here and we keep going back, and then Niti hopefully will be at some point on Amina
Jan is doing something with the Yakar Foundation. For support, you can get in contact with her. But I think, if we also can just appeal to people, Nibuga support Nineka on the ground, if they can contact us here, then we'll be able to coordinate so that at least, Nancy and Amina can do something on the ground to help the less fortunate. It's an opportunity. And don't also forget our PayPal. Sometimes Ngenduga help you to go to some of the bills that we also need to do. At least that will also help. Bun, thank you. Tey moom da nga xaw a late nag ñun ñu ngi nii di tëj fi mu nekk nii. Sang, thank you so much, Sang Mendy. Thank you so much. Kon ñu ne leen ne rek ne until maybe next week, Paos, we're supposed to have this political show. So we'll see how best we can schedule it so that Sarian can also be here to be part of that as well.
Thank you.
Yes.